This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief, Sierra 117, with a shout out to David and his pals Matt, Sean, and James, and a big shout out to all the TCGS fans out there. Thanks for living it, guys, and remember to finish the fight. Master Chief, out.
Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with James Farley.
Oh, hello.
Matt Murray.
Hello there.
And Sean Bell.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Maybe that's it. Maybe if we say him first, he sounds a little bit happier.
I was shocked.
Did you see his mood change?
It has to be a surprise,
really
though.
happy about that.
Yeah.
If he's first again next week, then that'll just be like, oh, well, I'm always first, so what's the point?
Yeah,
No, because
great.
the thing is,
it's
Sean's
no,
Get me out of the way.
it's the way that every week David goes through your names and then he just goes, and James Farley, like that, like it's a disappointment every time. So I was
Is that what
surprised.
sets him off for the whole show?
James, it's
Is
because
that what sets him off?
It's because your presence is reassuring. It's like, yeah, you've got Sean, you've got Matt, but is James is here. Thank fuck. It's all going to be all right.
We all know that's not true, and it's just you're just taking the piss.
I'm not taking the piss. That's how I actually
No,
feel.
we're absolutely taking the piss. We are coming to you with the support and love from the people of Patreons. Is that the right way I said? It's not, is
People
it?
of Patreons.
Everyone that supports us on Patreon, it's we'd like to thank you all personally. Not personally, because you haven't paid the extra for it, but we'd like to thank you all for supporting the show and helping us keep the lights on and all that. I've heard other podcasts say keep the lights on, so I'm using that. That's why I said that then. But we'd especially like to thank our Patreon producers this week, Aaron, Patrick, and Anthony Oakenson. Thank you so much for going full Nels. We really appreciate it. You can help support the show by going to www.patreon.com/TCGS and sign up to one of various tiers there from $5 to higher. Is that it? Is the lowest one $5?
From $2.
Well, it's a $2
From
one. You
$2.
don't get anything for $2. You got to pony up, mate.
I've got an hour spec,
Yep.
which I think actually is better.
Oh, you
if
still get
anything.
our respect, but then
Really?
we respect
What's
everything.
that worth,
so.
though?
You don't get
What, $2
James's respect
for
at $2. You got to go up to at least full Nels to get James's respect. Another thing we really like on the show is playing clips like when other podcasts mention us and stuff. So I thought I'd just play a clip from another podcast, if that's all right, to get us underway. Here we go.
Okay.
Have a listen to this.
No.
Twitch streamers instead. So like there's a net loss in my podcasting since working from home. I listen to two of them now, and that's it. But yeah, I listen to the video game show, right, which is like some other guys with opinions talking about video games, right? I don't want to, in case they're listening, I don't want to fucking bump them up too much. It's gone to their heads a bit, right? This week, the guy that plays Master Chief was giving him a shout out on Twitter. So just keep the fucking egos in check. I'm not giving him a proper shout out. And I listen to this.
Thanks very much for that. And so if you want to hear that show, we'll give the shout out back. Go and listen to the Especially Moving podcast. I think you can check that podcast out on Spotify. So go and listen to their podcast. Give some love back to them. Also, in terms of ego, pretty sure you can't keep us in check. Our ego's gone by now. Our ego is gone.
Too late, baby.
Too late. Could you imagine that? Imagine making our egos even worse. It's not going to happen, isn't it? But he mentioned there that we had a bit of a special shout out this week, didn't we, Matt?
Oh, we did. We absolutely did. It was the Master Chef himself.
Do you know how much that meant to me? Like, when did it come through on Friday last week?
I have no idea. Every day.
I think it was Friday last week.
probably lost track.
I woke up in such a horrific mood, like an awful mood. I don't know about anyone listening out there, but my mood swings are up and down by the day. Like, it is absolute. Yesterday I was extremely low. Today I feel all right. It's just the whole, being contained thing, not doing what you want to do. Yeah, I don't know. Your mood's all over the place. I think that's a natural thing. Friday, I was in a right old state in the morning. I just didn't want to talk to anyone. I was angry. When you feel tense, like from the moment you wake up, just like one of those sort of moods. And then I saw that video, and it was like someone just put a pin in me, and I just released because I was just so fucking excited. I said to Joe when I was having my meltdown after watching it, right, you don't understand. Me and my mates queued up 3 hours to play Halo 2 once, right? And then when I got there, they wouldn't let me invert the controls. And I still wasn't angry. Like, you don't understand how much Halo means to me. And to have Master Chief saying thanks for living it, well, I will give all the thanks I've got in the world to Kurt Lewin there. Regular friend of the show, Kurt Lewin, for sending over that. I mean, that was incredible. James, you didn't seem that bothered.
Oh, it's nice, isn't it? It's nice.
Do you not get excited about that stuff?
Well, yeah. Obviously, it's really nice, and I mean, I'm not massively into Halo like you are, so
Jesus Christ! I mean, not Sean, but I think you still appreciate it, didn't you, Sean?
No, come on, come off it. I did appreciate it. I thought it was pretty cool. But I mean, okay, who else would be better?
Kirk, James is saying, go fuck yourself, don't do anything nice for us.
Yeah,
that's not at all what I'm saying. I didn't look. I thought it was really, really nice. I enjoyed watching it, but I wasn't like doing cartwheels like you, Dave.
Oh, mate,
but then
come
also,
on, how can you...
I didn't queue up for 2 hours to play Halo 2 either, because it was coming out about a month later. I'm not bothered.
3 hours, but at the time I was really bothered. And Matt, you didn't seem that bothered either. You just went quiet all day. I was like, Matt, how are you not going crazy for this?
Yeah, I was busy. Yeah, no, it's really cool.
Oh, unbelievable. This is so weird. Am I the weird one? It's one of those situations where I'm like,
you were going on
he's
about
weird,
it a
you
lot.
guys?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I was so excited. Like, that is just the coolest... Just the coolest thing. I think that might be better than Ian Lee wearing a podcast t-shirt.
Are you familiar with Cameo?
Yes.
Yeah. I just... I wish I hadn't started this bit now.
No, go on.
Go on, I want to know what's going on now. Go on.
It's really cool. And it's like, oh, wow, like the voice of Master Chief, but like the fact, like, he must do like hundreds of them. It just feels a little bit less special.
Yeah, he's already like forgotten who we are.
But I will say the one really cool thing.
I'm not sitting there thinking, oh my god, he's now my friend.
He's a fan.
Like, that's not the thought process. I know he's done hundreds of these videos. That's fine.
So hang on. So Matt, were you doubting his sincerity then?
I'm just saying it's sort of it's cool, but it's I don't know. It's not like
it's not real enough.
No, it's not. But what is cool is that the actor who plays Master Chief, it's Steve Downes, and he's basically donating all his proceeds from Cameo this month or over the next month or so to COVID-19 sort of charities to help fight that. So so it's all for good cause as well.
Well, apparently not, because wait, if you saw Roy Hodgson walking down the street, Matt, and you took a photo with him, would you be happy with that photo? Or would you turn around and go, he's probably taken hundreds of photos in his life, and he fuck it, means nothing. What?
No, it's different, and there was that one time after I was in London for whatever reason, but like I bumped into the entire Crystal Palace like squad coming out of King's Cross, and I got pictures of her. I could have burst into flames. I was so happy.
Right, okay.
Know, it's a little bit different.
Okay.
I can't describe it.
So what's the difference?
Because I can't describe it. I'm just saying. Anyway, it's really cool. Thank you, Kurt.
Fucking hell.
We really do appreciate it.
Fucking hell.
Just Dave appreciates it more than us, but it's good.
Oh God, me! I've watched that video about 1,000 times, literally just on repeat on my phone.
You would not stop going on about it.
Yeah. Well, of course I wouldn't. It's one of the coolest things. I cannot believe. Have you got to that stage? Have you guys got to that stage now, where you're so far gone, you've all changed so much that a shout out from Master Chief is not good enough for you?
If it was like a different, like okay, if it was like I don't know, who's the guy from Uncharted? I've forgotten.
Drake,
Nolan
Nathan
North.
Drake.
Yeah, if it was like Nolan North or something like that, wouldn't that be also pretty cool? If I can remember his name.
I mean, to me, that's no different.
No, well, to me, it's not quite as cool, but it's still fucking cool. I would still be like more excited than you were for the Master Chief one.
Charles Martinet.
Charles Martin, come on.
Nah, he's weird and annoying.
The difference is, you see...
Sorry, Charles, if you're listening.
Yeah, sorry, Chaz.
See, the thing is, Charles Martinet is all over the place. Like he's on the internet all the time, and you see him all the time, and he's constantly doing weird things with his voices. Whereas Master Chief, you don't see a lot of that.
Phil Harrison?
You don't see a lot of that. Who?
Phil Harrison?
Jill Harrison?
Phil Harrison.
Phil...
The Stadia guy.
You're just saying other people and saying, would that be cool? Yeah, it would be cool. What would be cool for you, James? What would you want?
Okay, Phil Spencer. I'd be well pleased with that, because it's
actually, me too.
Yeah.
I think it's just because things like Cameo have sort of cheapened this whole thing.
Oh, mate, you're insane. You're insane. I also
I'm not saying it wasn't
extreme...
cool. It was definitely cool, and I was like, oh
It
wow.
was.
But I wasn't like wanking over it. I wasn't like, Jesus Christ, it's the best thing of my life.
Do you know what it was? I know why this is. Is this because he said this is a shout out for Dave and his pals?
I mean, that fucked me off.
He named
Definitely.
It's going to be that.
That definitely annoyed me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dave
so
and his
I heard that, and
pals.
I thought we're not even going to get a mention.
I did notice in
none of
Dave's
this is being
tweet.
directed at
In
you.
Dave's tweet, when he tweeted it out, he's like, "Oh yeah, they shouted out our podcast and my catchphrase."
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, that's what he did, though, isn't
Do you
it?
know, Sean, I'll be honest, right? When I saw that, I reread that to make sure that Dave hadn't written my podcast. Right?
Do you know what? I nearly did, right? Because I was tweeting it from my perspective or whatever, but I didn't. I put our podcast and my catchphrase. What, you want credit for my catchphrase now, Sean? After yours one,
it just felt a little bit
thanks for
like
letting
you'd
me
gone
be
out of your
natural.
way to make sure we knew who owned what.
Master Chief went out of his way. What was it? What was I going to say? Our
I do have
catchphrase.
notifications. I did it anyway. Yeah, Dave and his pals. Is that what he says? You've watched it 1,000 times, Dave. What did he say? What are the actual words?
He says this is a shout out for Dave and his pals,
Dave
Matt,
and his
Sean,
pals?
and James. Yeah, and this is even funnier because Kurt DM'd me and told me that he actually asked him to call me the main one.
Well, you know what? I respect Master Chief a bit more now because he didn't bow down to that.
This is it.
I was
This is
still
it.
last
This is
in the list.
ego. It dented your ego. That phrase that you used. That's
James,
why
of
you don't
course
like
you're
this
last
video.
on the
That's why
list. That's not up for discussion.
unbelievable. That's why I put you up top today, James, to give you that little bit of a lift that you need. But also, I feel a bit sorry for Oodles, who did something very similar just weeks before that Matt just flat out ignored.
I kept forgetting.
That was even more famous than Master Chief.
Yeah.
We're not talking more famous than Phil Spencer, more famous than fucking Shigeru Miyamoto. We got a shout out from Father Christmas himself.
So I'd say
And
that's
Matt
bigger.
not only didn't put it on the show, completely ignored it for 3 weeks. What's going on there, Matt?
I wrote a note on my phone like the week it came out, and I just like kept forgetting to go to my phone during the pod because I'm a professional.
The note
But
just
I can
says
play it now
"fuck
if you
Oodles."
want. Should we
Go on,
do
play
this
it now.
now?
Yeah,
go on
let's
then.
hear
Hopefully you'll be able
what
to hear
Santa
it over the
has to
thing,
say.
but it'll sound really good on the edit because I would have hear it.
Hello, it's me, Santa, coming to you live from the North Pole with this very special message just for you. I'd like to ask all of you members of the TCGS podcast crew how you're handling these troubling times, and I want to thank you for your hard work these past few weeks. We couldn't have made it without you.
What does he say then? What does he say then? We couldn't have made it without you.
To me, it sounds like we couldn't have beat it without you.
Yeah.
I'm like,
No, it's made it, surely.
I mean, surely.
Yeah, I would have thought, but I put my money on made it.
Anyway.
We couldn't have, but he sounded a
have
bit
made it.
pissed and sort of said made it
Without you.
instead. Also, what's with that speech pattern? Hello and welcome to the computer game show. It's so bizarre.
The thing is with that is
What
that
weird way to
like,
talk.
Cameo has sort of cheapened Christmas now. Because I know
What's your
Santa's
issue with Cameo?
Santa's just in there, like he's supposed to be making toys for kids, and yet he's like fanning around on Cameo making $50 a pop.
I mean, it is April. Well, it was March when he recorded it, but
Yeah, but Sean, there's millions of billions of kids in the world. There's a
That's
lot
true.
of toys to make.
That's true.
Did you have this idea
Yeah, but
about a year ago,
Sean,
and then you discovered
Santa,
Cameo,
Sean,
and now
hang on,
you're
Dave.
all against Cameo?
Sean,
that
do you
it?
think? Hang on, Dave. Do you think Santa has time for a month off?
Yeah, I
No
reckon
way.
he's
He's
just off
working from
until
Boxing
like
Day onward,
September,
wasn't it?
and then because he didn't even know what toys need making until September. You don't know what's in, do you?
Well, no,
True.
right. He's probably
Tracy
okay,
Island. You know what I mean?
I'll make a million scale electric, V-Bucks, Funko Pops, and then the rest will
Those
just
LOL dolls that have like
yeah,
a
LOL
unboxing.
dolls, LOL, lol.
Sorry.
I don't even know what they are.
You got more to say about this one than the Halo one. This is, I seriously, I don't understand this at all. At all. It's weird. Okay,
Thank you
cool.
for the question, by the way, Santa. And it was and Noodles, thank you. I'm sorry, I forgot 3 weeks in a row.
Right, should we get on to feedback then? Mm-hmm. What did people think of the last week's show, man?
Well, actually, one other thing we haven't really mentioned is that yesterday, so Monday, as we record this on Tuesday, was TCGS's 4th birthday.
It was, yeah. Why didn't we mention it, Matt?
Why didn't we?
Because we all forgot.
Well, I've had it in my calendar, but again, I was just like busy, and because in a perfect world, I would have planned lots of big things, and things just. But it's been in the calendar for ages, but whatever. Anyway,
yeah, I know. It was one of those things that at the start of the year we were going, look, we always forget our birthday, the TCGS birthday. Let's try and plan something and do something proper this year. And we were like, yeah, good idea. Yeah, all right, let's do that. And then it just didn't come up again until the day before our birthdays. But yeah, 4 years. 4 years of the show. We've had quite a ride. This is, what are we calling this one? 5.0? Because you had the original crew. Then you had
then
minus
Sean,
James with John Denton.
What?
No, because
minus me.
Minus
I've been
James.
here the whole
Sorry,
time.
minus
it
Sean.
was- it was
Sorry,
Sean.
minus Sean. Minus Sean, but with John Denton.
Yeah.
Then Sean came back.
Version 3.
Then I went away.
Yeah.
And now I'm back.
Yeah, so now
that's
so now we're currently 5.0.
Yeah.
yeah.
So whoever
yeah,
leaves
it's
next.
crazy.
Yeah,
it's
4 years.
mad
It
what
feels
we've
like way longer, and also no time at all.
Does it feel way long? I mean, I was thinking about this, like how long until we overtake the time we spent doing JoyPod, and we've still got another 3 years to go. Believe it or not, because we did JoyPod from 2006 to 2012.
Jesus. I'm trying to think if this has outlasted
2013?
Midnight Resistance. I think
2013.
it might have.
What? No, Midnight was. Oh yeah, because you did Dark Zero before that.
Yeah.
How long did you do Dark Zero for?
Christ knows. That was super like on and off though. The first 2 episodes were about a year apart, so that doesn't really count.
Oh,
But if we're talking about cultural impact, like this is way bigger than anything have you guys ever done. So let's just focus on. Let's focus
Listen,
on this.
it's all
Starcles is
built
pretty big.
towards this, for
That's
better
a
or
very good
worse.
point. Yeah, it's all fake. If you hadn't done that, you wouldn't be here now.
Exactly.
So-
The foundations.
Starcles and Dark Calls did pretty well, didn't they, James?
I certainly did. Yeah,
Remember when we were on Play Radio, James?
yeah, I do. That was also
yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty special.
Yeah, I was
So,
there too. I was on an episode.
As a caller,
No, I was in the studio with
you
you.
used to phone into the
I
show,
was in the
man.
studio with you.
Yeah,
You
virtually.
never come to the studio with us.
Yeah, me, you, and Capone.
You never come to the studio with us,
I
Matt.
literally was in the studio.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I was. I'm actually.
Right, I've got.
How
I mean,
do you
now
not
that you
remember
mention
that?
it, how many of our listeners that we have now do you reckon actually know that you used to be on the radio, Dave?
And I mean, I wouldn't say on the radio.
Well, you know what I mean.
It's
You know what
in
I
the
mean.
loosest sense of the word.
We don't need to go into detail. It's fine. They don't know any better. Just tell them you're on the radio.
I know the pictures look great because I've got these massive mixing desks in front of me and all that. I think there's quite a few. There's still quite a few people like message me about old JoyPod stuff and that. So yeah, I still get the odd magnetic pictures being said to me.
Mike.
Do you
but yeah,
genuinely
no,
not
I
remember me
think
coming, like us all going to the studio together?
Nah, I genuinely don't.
Unbelievable. Like,
genuinely
me,
don't.
you, and Capone, and I think Michael rang in at that point.
I remember Capone coming down once because I drove him down there, but I don't remember. You were there as well.
Yes. Anyway, thanks. For,
Oh, sorry. But yeah, 4 years, man, it's crazy. And yeah, thanks to everyone that supported us throughout the years, come to our shows, supported us on Patreon, or just downloaded and listened and told a friend about it, all that sort of stuff. It's all been absolutely wonderful. And last night we did a special stream, didn't we, Matt?
Yeah, so like this has been long requested, us playing things that Overcooked, and we've said, oh, which plays Sea of Thieves? That'd be great. And then, you know, because it's our birthday, and we hastily said, how about we do a stream? And yeah, all four of us got on a stream together and did some Overcooked 2, tick, Sea of Thieves, tick, and then also totally reliable delivery service on Xbox, on Game Pass, so that was also excellent. Yeah, it's a really, really fun 2 hours.
I think it's also fair to say that I think we all discovered then that we should have done this years ago, because last night was so much fun. It's all on YouTube. You can catch up on youtube.com and watch the full stream. It's 2 hours. The games aren't separated out, so you can just fast forward if we're playing a game you don't want to particularly watch. But I highly suggest that you watch the totally reliable delivery service bit. It's about like the last hour.
See, I thought that was the weakest bit, probably.
Are you kidding me?
I thought Sea of Thieves was really the strongest bit. But...
Are you kidding me, Sean? If you watch that bit again, and it's 45 minutes of us just laughing our asses off. Like, it is. I think that's the best bit. But anyway, yeah. So go and watch that. It was really good fun, and there's no doubt that we've seen how well technically that stream worked. We're absolutely going to have to do more of those.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I think GTA Heist might be on the cards.
Yes, mate.
To be quite honest with you, it's the way to go.
That'd be well up for
Although
that.
It did take James about 14 hours to load Sea of Thieves, so I'm not hopeful for GTA.
Xbox,
but there you go.
Rubbish console. Go on.
Well, okay. I mean, it didn't affect Sean. He's got the exact same model. Right, okay. Should we get to feedback now?
Yeah, Lars Hedderdam has emailed in. Thank you for delivering good podcasting and other content. Always appreciated as ever, but especially in these times. After hearing and seeing this side of James, the happy guy playing Animal Crossing with his social exploration hat, just having a good time, it makes me a bit worried. I know we should be happy for James, but I fear for the mental backlash. Am I the only one of us expecting after some month of James playing Animal Crossing to a point where the whole island of Redmire is at its peak liveliness and teeming with life? James's little... Okay, I'm to read what the email says. James's little pudgy-faced character will, hopefully on stream, look around, look at the camera and say, perfect, light a match and watch the whole thing burn to the ground. I just have this feeling that this version of Happy James will not last.
I think it will. I mean, I did, like, on the other ones, I played them for like 2 or 3 years and I've managed to maintain the happiness. So I think it'll be all right. Although I was getting a bit annoyed the other night with the putting down the paths. That's quite irritating.
It is a bit, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
the way it's done.
we'll get onto this.
It's a bit fiddly.
Yeah, I haven't got to that.
It's
But I've
very
got questions.
fiddly. Yeah.
Last week we talked about Alien Isolation. Lou Proctor and some other people as well actually went to correct us. Actually, Alien Isolation did come out on the 360.
Okay.
It was a pretty compromised port, thoh.
Yeah.
Did we say it was Xbox One only? Is that what we were saying?
Yeah,
we
I
didn't
certainly
even
thought.
say that. We just said it come out on Xbox One.
Okay.
I mean, I've listened to that bit a couple of times. At no point did we say it didn't come out on the 360.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, I think it was the opposite. I think James said it came out on the 360, and we went, did it? And then you went, yes. And we said, oh, right, maybe it can
I'm
handle
pretty
it.
certain
Then.
I did say
think
that.
was
Yeah.
the conversation. So
Well, it's just
I'll
a
have to
bit
go
of
back and
correction,
listen,
isn't it?
well,
Mike,
not correct to say that wasn't wrong. Okay,
Well,
sure,
I mean,
let's go.
Lou might not be correcting us. He might just be confirming because we didn't seem sure or whatever.
yeah,
That is
and that's
also
what the section is
possible.
for. So thank you for the tweet,
Exactly.
Mike.
Exactly.
Mike at Gadget8
Are we
on
way
Twitter.
too defensive, Sean? Is that it? Or are we way too defensive? I'll let our backs up now straight
Maybe,
away.
I mean,
like,
you know, the caliber of feedback we
fuck off,
normally
mate.
get, then yeah, it's fair enough. But
It's true. It's true. Go on.
Speaking of which, David, thank you for bringing up this. No, I don't mean that. Thank you for bringing up the same criticisms I have with Doom Eternal. All the critics are lavishing praise, but I thought I was alone in thinking 2016 was a more refined and lean experience, down with first-person platforming. Now, my question for this is, so did Doom 2016 have zero first-person platforming? I thought it had some as well, didn't it?
Not like this.
If it did,
Okay, so it
it
had
was
some,
really,
but not as much.
really small. Yeah.
There wasn't
yeah,
all
I
the
don't-
climbing, was there, in it? You didn't do any
No.
climbing.
No, you didn't have those weird grapple areas that suddenly have red flashing bits on it that you can't climb on, like for no reason. Yeah, didn't have any of that stuff. I will say this: I've seen a lot of game critics sort of echo my reaction to that game as well. So yeah, I don't really agree that games critics are getting it wrong or lavishing praise on it. I've seen these opinions elsewhere, so I'm not, I don't think my views are completely unique. But yeah, no, I mean, I haven't gone back to it, and I'm wondering why. Because, again, there are moments in there that I still am absolutely adoring, or was before I stopped playing. But, yeah, I haven't felt the need to go back to it since we last spoke about it.
Do you know how far you are into it? Does it feel like
probably
quite
about
a long
a third?
game? All right.
Yeah, it does feel like it's... Well, how would I know, really? It feels like... I suppose it feels like a long game, because each mission is about an hour and a quarter. It's mental. Like 45 minutes to an hour or whatever for a mission. In fact, it's quite funny because you'll play for ages and then all of a sudden it come up with the end of mission screen and you're like, what? I've had 2 sessions on this game today and that's the first time I've seen an end of a mission screen. That's bizarre. But yeah, I haven't had that. It hasn't pulled me in like the last game did. Which is a shame, really.
Mm. Does any one of us know like how this is done correctly compared to the first one? Has it reviewed better, or is it like the Tomb Raider thing, whereby the first Tomb Raider reboot I loved, the second one was definitely arguably. Sorry, that I think it's improved in every way, but because I already sort of experienced the first one, the impact of the second one was kind of reduced somewhat. Do you think it's a bit?
I don't think it's that situation at all, because when you look at those two Tomb Raider games, the issue was they were too similar. Whereas the issue here is that they've actually tried to do quite a few. They tried to make quite a few changes. To this version of Doom, and I think it's a situation where it's like, actually, I could have done with just more of the same, just a little bit expanded. As I say, my main criticism of the game is not so much how it plays in terms of like minute to minute moment. It's just how fiddly it is to control when you're playing a game that's requiring so much speed, and so many like quick time reactions. All of a sudden you're fighting and trying to remember what weapon you need and what mod is on it and all that sort of stuff. It gets just a little bit too fiddly to feel fluid in combat. So that was sort of my main criticism of it, I guess. But
okay. In
terms of media reaction, I don't know is the short answer. I know the first one was highly praised.
I thought it'd be mostly kind of like people have, it has been liked, but then there has been a lot of people highlighting a lot of the things you've said, Dave. Like particularly with the like the platforming and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think it is a lot of it is down to the people that are willing to put the effort in to completely learn the new systems and new button layouts and everything. And are not bothered by the platforming and stuff like that. I think a lot of podcasts out there that I've listened to have said it makes a big difference if you're playing on PC or console.
Really?
Because on PC you can just set up your hotkeys and you can aim a lot easier and all that sort of stuff.
What about on Stadia?
Stadia. I've heard nothing but bad things.
I saw Rami from Vlambeer tweeting about it. And he had the exact same problem as you. He was playing on normal and getting absolutely pasted and putting it on easy, and it was way too easy. He was like, there needs to be something like between the two. Seems that is a fairly common complaint as well.
It's weird kind of when you look at... So when you go from medium to easy or hard to medium in certain games, what it tends to do is give you more health and make the enemies easier to kill, like give them less health, right? But here, the trickiness that I'm finding is not taking down enemies and how much health they've got. It's fucking about between weapons. So it feels like between medium and easy, it would have been better if... I know they couldn't do this, so I'm not giving it as a proper suggestion, but it feels like it could have been, hey, you've only got 3 weapons to flick between... and none of them got modifiers or something like that. It takes away the modifiers and the specific damage to each modifier is just forgotten about, and whatever you're firing does the same amount of that damage, rather than these are just really easy to kill now, and here's a ton of health. That's the feeling I get. That's why I didn't like easy mode so much, because that wasn't really my problem with it. My problem with it was how many systems I've got to try and jockey at once. That's what made it not even hard, just not very fun to do.
Okay, that was normally I wouldn't do this.
I was going to say, don't do this, Matt. That's not right. This is my job, not yours.
What James? Do something. Say something then. What?
Well, do you want to just smash through the feedback and then we'll get on to news, yeah?
Can I just say, my heart just went in my mouth then.
It's not Boris, don't worry. Go on.
No, not that. No, my heart just went into my mouth then, because I thought that I'd said something really awful or like shake your legs again. So when you all just went, I wouldn't normally do this. No, don't do it, Matt. I was like, what have I done? What have I done? But I'm assuming you were about to ruin James's news, right?
Yep.
Well, basically there's...
Matt, let James do it. Let's just smash through the feedback.
I don't know if I'm concentrating on feedback, but let's bash through it. Okay, Dave, also, actually there's no more feedback. Okay, news. No, okay, I'll do it. Kurt Lewin, how are we... Okay,
just get on with
Kurt
it.
Lewin, feedback regarding Dave saying first-person platforming is never good. How about Titanfall 2?
Fantastic answer. I didn't even think of that. And I'll tell you something about... Titanfall 2, when it comes to platforming and why that works and most don't, is that it completely feels like it's when you play Tomb Raider, the reboot one, and people were complaining that if you jump close to an edge, Lara sort of floats over a little bit to make sure she catches the edge, right? Titanfall 2 works like that. If you're close enough to a wall, fine, you'll be wall running. You won't have to completely. You don't have to be spot on.
You're not worrying about where your feet are landing, are you? You're always looking forwards, and you're looking for things in front of you. You're not looking down like, oh, where am I going to land? Like, it doesn't.
And if you jump in the general direction, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
And that's where that game gets that right. But you're absolutely right, Kurt. That didn't enter my mind at the time, but Titanfall 2 is a brilliant example of first-person shooter platforming, for sure. First-person platforming is what I was trying to say there. Right, okay, yep.
Right, Andrew Gushwend, about the Epic deal, it's important to know, unlike what Dave thinks, keeping your IP in 50-50 profit sharing is far from the norm in games publishing. Think of Platinum that didn't get to keep any of its IP they made for other publishers. That is usually the norm.
Unlike what Dave thinks. Did I say that this is the norm?
I can't remember what any of us said about this.
I don't think I said that, but okay, if I did, you've put me right.
Yeah, he's absolutely done you there.
Yeah, man.
Luke Sumhays, friend of Bears at Buskalilly on Twitter. I teach a student called Akira, and Sean was right about the pronunciation being Akira. He's wrong to write for manga, though, just because 90% of it is boobs for teens. So that's something to think about. Also,
my God, I've just seen what you went crazy about.
I know.
Right, I've just looked at my... Right, oh, my God. Okay.
Just get on with it.
As if we can do this at a time like this.
Fuck. Yeah, I know. Sorry. Go on.
I thought, okay, Brandon would do some actual exciting breaking news on the pod, but then we're going to wait. Anyway,
but this doesn't go out until tomorrow anyway. So what's the?
Exactly, it doesn't matter.
They can feel the excitement and energy live.
Just get on with the feedback.
Also,
Sean, what the fuck is that?
No,
what is it?
Okay. We're not going to discuss it. Anyway, Luke continues. Also, I lost all respect for David giving up on the phenomenal Mario Galaxy just because your weedy arms can't point a remote. Never mind, he ran back with his Animal Crossing face turn.
Cool. Should we do the news?
Okay, all right.
No,
all right.
Okay, cool. Right, last bit. Mark has tweeted, it's a real treat to go back to old computer game show, E3 shows, back when James was excited for Detroit Become Human. See, that was a thing.
Yep.
David couldn't wait for a FIFA story campaign. Matt was excited about everything, so no change there. Oh, and Brexit. That's it for feedback. It's at Computer Game on Twitter, or you can email podcast@thecomputergameshow.com. News, let's go.
Right.
I mean,
Let's go.
This is going to fuck James up, because this is basically ruining all James's 4 days of preparation or whatever he does.
It is.
What's beautiful is all he has to do is do this news story first,
Yeah.
and then just
and
carry
just
on.
crack on.
I mean,
No,
it's been
he
said,
won't do that. He'll like read something that's vaguely relayed and then add this like 4 stories in.
It's been annoying all day because Matt, you've been chucking stories in the fucking WhatsApp like nobody's
James,
business.
if news happens, news happens. It's not. I
Right,
don't
okay,
create the news.
lights are on.
All right, okay, look, breaking news. Can we put a sound effect in? I'd like the one where if you're playing like Street Fighter 2 and then a new challenger comes in and it goes
Absolutely not. No, we're not doing that.
This is going to get out in 60 in about 7 hours.
Okay. Anyway, so what's happened that has just been the breaking news?
What's happened? That's just been the breaking news. Get on with it. What a newscaster.
So anyway, there's been some breaking news, and this is that
Ages
Sony
ago.
have just. Can you just fucking shut up and just let me get on with it? Just that you're holding it up by just criticising
There's
me
been some
as I'm
breaking
trying to
news about 10 minutes ago. It's not even breaking now. It's just news.
Matt, we're not
Barely
going out
even
live.
news.
You know that, right?
Historical event.
Look, here we are. I'm streaming.
Stop being such a clever dick. Come on.
We're all mixed
Anyway.
right now.
Clever Dick. The name
Dick.
of the podcast. Go, James.
So anyway, Sony have revealed the next PlayStation controller for the PS5.
Oh my god!
And it's called the DualSense.
Oh
And,
shit!
Fuck off.
I mean, if you look at this, it's like kind of black at the bottom and then like with a white cover. It looks like it's got over it. And
I love it.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it looks amazing.
Yeah, I really like the way it
You're
looks.
fucking kidding me. It looks awful.
I can't see it actually going out like that, but it looks like
it's brilliant.
I mean, it's like when you see those cars, which and like it's before like a model of a car has been announced, and they put like weird sticks on it to disguise the car. This looks like that. It's like white and black, and it doesn't look like a real
Right,
pad
okay,
at all.
let me point out a couple of things. Right, first off, the sticks are in the wrong place again. They look even closer than they do in the current DualShock.
They're
fair.
never
They need
going
to
to
cut
move
that out.
them
Why not?
because I feel like that's just because I
This
think
is their
if they were to
design. It's a
move the
classic
sticks, they would
design now,
concede
isn't
to Xbox. I
No,
don't
it's
think they'll do
not.
that.
It's not a classic design because it's them just copying the SNES pad with the PlayStation controller and then just like, oh fuck, we need to add sticks to it and just bolting them on the
Yeah.
bottom. That's there's nothing classic about it. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, and you're saying, they'll just be copying Xbox. No, they'll be copying everyone because everyone does that now.
Yeah,
because
right.
that's the way
Exactly.
you want to play
so like,
your games.
this feels like Sony's. This is like it's DualShock. It's like an iconic.
But it's
shape.
worse, Matt.
I mean, I played hundreds of hours of Destiny on it. It's not my preferred stick layout, but it works anyway.
Right, why isn't it your preferred stick layout?
But because I prefer how my
Because the other
thumbs.
one's better.
Well, yeah, yes, but I'm
So you
saying
would
I
rather
think
then
you'll
stick to
find
some
Dave.
sort of weird brand identity than offer you a pad with a better placement of stick.
well, no, because they obviously think this is better.
No, they
and,
don't.
The
and
only way that this
people
layout is
agree.
better is if you're a keen D-pad user, which
Exactly.
in 2020 not so much. I do really like the way it looks though.
Yeah, I think
Really?
this looks great.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing
anyway,
what you're liking
right, yeah,
about
let's
that.
hear
I
what
think it looks.
let's hear why it's
I
perhaps
think
different.
it looks like an Ouya pad. To be
well,
It
honest,
looks like
come off
something
it,
from Mass
Dave.
Effect. It's great.
Yeah,
It does. It does look like something
looks
from Mass Effect.
Fucking wild.
I'm not with you there. I'm
Oh, I've
not
got a
with you there.
half bar. Right, let's go.
Right, so
Got the
anyway,
speaker in it again.
do you want to know some details?
Because
I've got
Well, let me just describe a few things that I can see on it. Right. So it looks like it's got very similar pad to what we've had, D-pad to what we've had before.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the pad, you've got which I assume the PS logo to turn it on is now actually in the shape of the PS logo rather
Yeah.
than the
Yeah.
circle.
Rather than a
which is
circle,
logo.
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried about the sticks because they look very similar to the PS4 sticks. And I wasn't a big fan of those in terms of quality rather than placement. I like the fact that it's got a mute button directly on the pad because that means you could just use any headset and you don't have to faff around with a mute thing on the cable.
Yeah,
You
that's
can just
great,
hit
isn't
the
it?
pad. That is very good. You've got the menus button. The share button is in exactly the same
no,
place.
it's
That's
not a
good.
share button though.
It's not a share button now, but James
Okay,
wants
well,
that.
don't ruin it for me. It looks like it's got the touch thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it's got the touch thing. Right, James, give us the deets.
So, okay, so in the article, which is it's not very long, but I've just read it, they talk a lot about the haptic feedback this is going to have.
Oh, wicked.
especially with the L2 and R2 buttons, there'll be like proper haptic feedback with it. But also, like as in the controller as a whole, like if you're walking through mud or whatever, it'll feel more like it because presumably it will like vibrate or whatever, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The share button.
No. When I walk through mud, my fingers tremble about.
Vibrate,
So I see what you're saying, Ellen.
So also. So the share button's gone, but it's not because it's now become the create button instead.
Okay.
So they don't. They just says with create, we're once again pioneering new ways for players to create epic gameplay content to share with the world, or just to enjoy for themselves. So basically, it's the share button, but they've renamed it.
Oh, they've just renamed the share button. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Dave. It's epic gameplay content. They're not just sharing. They're creating.
Yeah, but you could look at you can create epic gameplay content. Okay, see what I can create my own DLC with that button now. Is that what you said to me? Because I really like this game. If I press this button,
we don't know because we haven't revealed why. But it's create rather than. I assume they've just built in what is it? Share Factory on PlayStation PS4.
Yeah,
which is basically a separate app.
Yeah,
I would assume they've sort of integrated that, and I don't know.
Okay, it's also got a built-in microphone array, which says it will enable players to easily chat with friends without a headset. I mean, that's absolutely rubbish.
I don't know. Technology's changed quite a bit.
No, but the
This
rules
is
of
what
physics
we've
haven't.
This is what we've wanted.
No, the laws of physics haven't. But have you ever spoken to someone using their Apple Watch? It's surprisingly okay.
Yeah?
Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, it's surprisingly okay. It's not the best thing in the world, but if they get it right, it could be okay. I don't think they're going to get it right, Sean. Don't get me wrong. I think we're going to hear a lot of echoing in the party chat.
But it means everyone's got a headset, which is something we didn't have on PS4. We had a 360.
I mean, every PS4 came with that absolutely pathetic earbud, didn't it?
Yeah,
but no one used that.
No.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, Matt, isn't it? Is that every PS4 came with a headset, but the headset was fucking dog shit, right? The problem is, if the microphone here is dog shit, then they're in the same situation, aren't they?
Well, I like to think if they're doing this, they're doing it because they feel like it's not a dog shit microphone.
Well, we'll see. But then also, it's got to be a microphone that can also detect voices, because I assume if you're using this microphone, you're not using headphones, which means speech is going to come out of your TV speakers. Right?
Yeah, which will be horrible.
Yeah,
which it could potentially feed back into that mic.
Unless
it's going to need a lot of very smart noise cancelling stuff going on,
or some 3D weird audio shit that no one understands yet. Maybe that is all put in place to avoid that.
This stuff is improving because everyone's moving to sort of true wireless earbuds, which obviously are not really anywhere near your mouth. So that tech is improving, but I'm still not convinced it's a good idea for something like a game controller.
I agree with you, Sean, but they've put a lot of effort into sound technology, and maybe, I mean, clutching at straws, but maybe that was included in that research. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you'll be able to plug in a headset as well if you want to, but that's the
totally. And it'd be interesting to see if that thing's listening at all times, because
it
might have
but if the pads
Alexa
off,
situation.
Yeah, this is what
it could be just in sleep mode, can't it?
Well, but pads don't go in standby. Pads are generally off, aren't they?
Not currently, mate. Not currently. Think outside that box. Think outside that box.
Goes through batteries like anything, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Don't get me wrong. This one would need more of a oomph in the battery department for it to do that.
Imagine if that was one of the features they listed. Like, oh, by the way, we haven't put in a battery that's made of tin this time.
This one works. But if they have like proper voice stuff and the pad is always listening, which is what we have wanted after speaking about it in the past, then that's a good thing.
Okay, cool.
So then also they've moved the light bar, obviously, because it's no longer on the top. It's actually in between. Can you see it's in between the touchpad?
Yeah, this is interesting. Yeah. So on the PS4 Pro I've got, and actually maybe it wasn't. No, I think I paid on the Pro I got at launch. They'd already moved or they had some touch bar stuff.
All they did was made a bit of that touch thing clear, so that you could just see the faint.
But plenty of PSVR games use that to track the pads. At least I was aware.
That's what I'm thinking.
So is this saying that the only touch bar element, light up thing we're going to see is that thing beneath the touchpad, or will I presume it's actually implying there's nothing else other than that.
It goes. Look, you can see if you look at one of the other images on the PlayStation blog, you can see the light bar on the top as well. It's like
there's no light on the top though.
God.
The blue's only down the sides.
Let's have a look. Yeah, you're right.
So
Yes, that's
So,
weird.
okay, so
isn't it?
ignore what I just said because I was wrong. Is that what you're saying there, James?
I don't know because we can't see it very well.
Anyway,
from here.
but basically,
you can.
I was on the impression that the PSVR needed that big light bar to track the pad. Now it's barely going to have any light, so I wonder how that's going to work.
Well, I mean, one option might be to let us use our PS4 pads on the new PlayStation.
Yep.
That'd be terrible. Hey, if you want PSVR on you, when you got to get an old PS4 pad, no, that's bad.
true.
That's bad.
Well, if you've got PSVR, Matt, you've probably got that pad, haven't you?
Well, yeah, but you might have sold your PS4 to get a PS5. It's like to say you've got to have the previous generation's pad to work. No, hopefully that's
bit
not.
messy,
You
isn't it?
currently have to use. You currently have to fucking find a Move controller to play
Yeah,
half the
from
games on
PS3.
that thing.
good point.
It's not exactly that much to ask, is it?
I
And the fact that you might be able to-
that'd
I mean,
bad.
Why
yeah,
would
but it's
that
also
be bad?
no, because what's going to happen here is they're going to release like a new version of like PlayStation VR, aren't they? And it's
Yeah.
definitely going to have better controllers for it. Like
Yeah.
it will
Yeah,
have
it'll
like
be totally
ones that
different.
are-
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
they're expecting it's going to
I
be.
don't think that'd be
people
bad though.
using these.
Microsoft have already announced they're doing that, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be
it's
surprised
different.
if they don't do that. Like if there isn't some sort of compatibility, with
They'll
older
come
pads
under
as well.
shit. They'll come under shit if they don't do that.
Yeah.
I know that because Microsoft have already announced that Xbox One pads will work with the Series X.
Mm-hmm.
So if Sony sort of buck that trend, it ain't going to go down well.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Although the only problem with that is that like they're putting all this like haptic stuff into it and all that. Like maybe if they're saying games are going to be designed around that kind of stuff, and the DualShock 4 doesn't have that, does it? So there could be that sort of stuff. Although it depends on how.
you still get one in the box. So I
Yeah.
mean, you'd still be able to play those games, but unless you don't get one in the box. Fucking hell. Sony, what are you doing, lads? Right, go on.
Sort it out. Can't believe they're not even including a console in the box.
Yeah, I know. And a microphone, fucking dog shit. Go on, let's go.
And you can't play PSVR. What a joke.
I mean, that's really about it that there is in this article. There's not really any other information. It's just basically that and what it looks like. So that's it, really.
I think I've got concerns straight away, mainly about the sticks, to be honest with you. I don't think it looks nice, but then I seem to be in the minority with that, so that's fine. But yeah, I'm worried about them sticks. There's no doubt about it. But we'll see. You never really know until the pad's in your hand. I remember looking at the the Switch Pro controller and just thinking, that looks like the most generic shit controller I've ever seen in my life. And then I held one and just went, this might be my favourite pad ever. So, yeah, no, it's weird at controllers until you actually get to feel them. Do you remember holding the 360 pad for the first time and
God,
thinking, this is the future? Yeah, it's wonderful.
I mean,
All right.
looking at this picture and I'm looking at the DualShock I've got now, like this is definitely curvier in like the. I mean, like what like either side of it is curvier than the current DualShock, which is
right.
interesting. I like why? I mean, they're calling it DualSense, not just another DualShock. Like, obviously, in this initial bit of information, there's no real information about why they've renamed it or what that's really referring to.
because
Is
they're
that
using
really
haptic
It's going to be.
feedback.
It's haptic, isn't it?
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
the sound.
DualShock
stuff.
doesn't necessarily refer to the controller, it refers to the vibration.
Yeah.
That's when they started using the brand DualShock. But now they've got rid of the vibration and they're replacing it with haptic feedback. It makes sense that they're calling this the DualSense.
And obviously, shock made sense back in the day when all Rumble was like getting shot or like, explosions going off or whatever. Whereas I guess the point is they're trying to distinguish that from like, no, it's about feeling other things,
It's
man.
about feeling shit,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Oh, we've got a game
Balls
where
in a
you
box.
have to tell how many balls
in a box.
Fuck you, Sean, for jumping in with the punchline. That's a prick. Right, go on.
Okay, so should we go to
She
the
went
next
of
one?
her own accord. Yes, Jack. Just let me finish the joke, Sean. Right, go on.
Okay, so an E3 rep has now confirmed that there's not going to be an E3 2020 digital event this year. So
Good, didn't want one. Good.
I mean, E3 had been cancelled like already anyway, but then the ESA had mentioned that there was going to be some sort of digital event, but then that's not happening now. It's
Mate,
definitely
it
not
really
happening.
is the Games Media prick list all over again, isn't it? That's exactly the trajectory.
I'm going to tweet some stuff out on the week. Oh, no, we're not even going to do that.
Yeah. Very, very soon, they said.
They
4
did,
months
however.
ago.
Oh, Hold on. Am I about to ruin it again, James? They did, however,
Go on.
announce the dates for next year's E3.
Yeah, I wasn't going to mention that because who cares?
Well, it's a bit of news, isn't it?
It's quite relevant to this, isn't it?
Well, not really.
Very relevant.
Everyone knows they're going to do. That's going to happen next year.
Well, no, they don't, James, because you haven't mentioned it in the news.
We had a whole discussion about 2 weeks ago about whether it was dead or not. Everyone knows they're going to do it.
Of course, they're going to say they're doing it again. They're not going to say, "Okay, we hold our hands up, it's not happening." They're all going to say it's definitely going to happen.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, so I mean, it's a shame, but I think most of the companies were just sort of going, "Okay, we'll do our own shit anyway." So yeah, I don't know what E3 Digital would have been in any sort of concept. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I think it's either other companies will
do
do it, and obviously definitely Microsoft will because it's console release year. But obviously with the coronavirus thing, I think a lot of people, even if they want to do it, this is gonna it's probably gonna be too difficult. Even if they were all doing it for the first time, doing their own digital showcases, let alone the fact that no one will, a lot of people, millions of people won't actually be in work properly until like June or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, it's not a surprise. It's a shame, but it's not a surprise.
You say that, Matt, but the next story is, IGN are having a stab at it because they're doing a thing called Summer of Gaming digital event, which is where they're basically doing the same sort of thing. They've got like a bunch of partners like Square Enix, Sega, Bandai Namco, Amazon and Google. I don't know, they're all turning up or whatever as well.
Stadia,
they're going to be
and
they're going to be doing like a whole load of like publisher presentations and like demos and all that kind of discussions and stuff. I mean, do you want me to read the quote? Shall I read the quote?
Yes,
I'd love to hear about news story. Yeah.
Yeah, they said with the next generation of console gaming kicking off later this year and gamers eager to learn more about what games they'll be playing on their new hardware, our online event will be a key moment for publishers and developers to connect with the audience worldwide.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Okay.
they're
Cool.
doing that.
All right. Well, they're trying to do something.
Exactly. I mean, they've seen an opportunity here, haven't they? I mean, where maybe if this becomes a thing, maybe we don't need E3 anymore or whatever. It's
exactly.
Just, they're going to take it over instead. I don't know.
No, it's it's a good idea.
James's enthusiasm for that story just fucking went down a very deep well. They might do. I don't know. Who gives a fuck? Right, next story.
It's a very good idea, but I think even this, I guess we'll see close to the time because I think even this has just been announced. I can also see it not happening, but
Okay, right. That sounds like something James would say. That doesn't sound like something you would say.
No. I'm just saying, mostly because of the whole coronavirus thing. I think, obviously everyone's incredibly hamstrung by that, and I think a lot of these people might think actually it's a lot of work.
Did you just say hammerstrung?
Hamstrung, didn't I?
No, you said hamstrung.
I thought you said hammerstrung.
You said hamstrung, I think.
No, James, I didn't say MC Hamstrung. Can't touch.
Let's get on to the next story.
Okay, so more details have now come out about these Mario remasters. So we talked about this last week.
Says the headline on Eurogamer.
Very excited. £35 each, according to
Matt,
Matt.
can you just shut the fuck? Look, why do you have to do this every single time? Like, just act like a massive prick. Like, no one's impressed.
No one's impressed.
No, it's just that you read the Eurogamer headline word for word, which I quite liked.
So what? I mean, I've got to get the news from somewhere. I'm not like out there sourcing it myself, am I? I mean, I've always been very...
You could tell from what James just said that he has had some very tricky students in his career, isn't he? You could just tell that.
No one's impressed.
To be fair, James, you used to rip me for always getting the news from Eurogamer.
Yeah, but I don't do that. I've got it. Look, if you ever look at the list, they're from different places.
That's all
predominantly
Gamer Network,
Eurogamer. It's not all of them.
Okay, let's get on to it because you're about to tell us how these games are going to be £35 each, right?
So anyway, there's going to be 3 3D Mario remasters, and these are going to be offered in a collection. So, and they're apparently internally this is being called Super Mario All Stars 2.
Get in.
He called it.
Unbelievable.
Come on, are we getting the praise?
No,
I'm
They
sitting here
won't
waiting
call
for
it
my
that.
praise.
It won't be called that when it comes out though.
Okay, but am I getting my praise now?
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah. Well done.
Cheers, man. Cheers, thank you.
So
Sure,
of those
sure.
games, Mario Galaxy is going to be one of
bitterness.
those. Can we just get on with it? One of those games is going to be Mario Galaxy, and apparently the others are going to be Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine.
Yep, okay, so exactly what I said.
So not Galaxy 2.
Apparently not.
Not Galaxy 2. No, that is a shame.
Still need to get
That
the
is
Wii
a
U
shame,
out.
that one.
Still need to get the Wii U out.
No, that's all right. That's enough Mario to be cracking on with. That's
I
fine.
don't
There's
need to
more.
play 64 again though. I think I'm all right.
Are they keeping that in the back pocket, do you reckon, Sean?
Maybe.
Definitely.
Yeah, they could
Maybe.
Of course
whip
it's
that out
coming.
later
Yeah,
down
yeah,
the
why
line.
not?
Maybe DLC for All Stars. That's what it'll be, wouldn't it? It'll be like when Halo brought out ODST later on down the line.
They're not going to like belittle Galaxy 2 just as DLC.
Well, of course they will.
Well, no, they've been told kicking the dick. Like, this is a problem. It's a legit game. I was like, oh, yeah, by the way, DLC, yeah, just chuck that other...
So you're saying 64 Sunshine and... All right, okay, I'll give you Sunshine, but Galaxy 1 isn't a legit game.
No, I'm saying these are all legit games, so they wouldn't say Galaxy 2, yeah, DLC in it. Like, I think they're going to make a big deal of it.
No, it's not DLC, but expansion to the All-Stars pack. That would make sense to me.
I feel like that would just sort of, oh, yeah, just chuck it in there. Why not? I think it's bigger than that.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think that they would release it at full price when you've got Galaxy 1.
Well, I never
as
said they
part
would
of
do it
this
full
compilation
price,
pack.
but I'm saying just to say... it's an
how much do
add-on.
you reckon then?
35 quid. Anything else in news story games?
Good.
Okay, so Mario 3D World is going to come as well, but it's like going to be a deluxe release. You know what they did with New Super Mario Brothers U? They're going to do the same thing. So there'll be like new content and stuff like that. They're going to go add to it as well. So that's good.
Baby.
Yeah. But also apparently other older Mario games that are not currently in the Switch's online library may also be added. So
Have we got a list of games that aren't on there?
I can't think of any. I mean, there wasn't a list on the article, so I have no idea. It's yeah.
Mario Paint. Showing.
Mario is missing. Maybe that.
Mario was missing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was missing. But then Luigi found him again, apparently. Sorry, spoilers. Right, okay. Next news story.
No, I haven't finished yet.
Well, you don't know Mario's missing?
What?
You don't know Mario's missing, Matt?
Yeah, of course I do.
All right, you just went, what? Halfway through that. So I was like, okay.
It's probably a really clever gag, but you missed it.
Okay.
There's also going to be a new Paper Mario game, which we already knew about, but apparently this is going to be more like returns to the roots. It's going to be more RPG in structure, which is good because that's
You're
when...
a big fan of those games, aren't you?
I am, yeah, and I was less of a fan, though, when they started putting all the platforming gimmicks and stuff in, and apparently this is not going to have that. It's going to be... Because the best one was obviously Thousand Year Door, which was really, really good on the GameCube, and something like that, again, would be very nice. It'd be good. Okay, next story is that Mario Lego now has a release date and a price, and it's coming on the 1st of August in Europe, and it's going to be £49. Yeah.
Way cheaper than I thought it would be.
Yeah. That's just for the Super Mario starter course, though. Yeah. And then there's also other stuff, like there's a Piranha Plant Power Slide expansion set, which is 25 quid. And then there's this Bowser's Castle boss battle expansion. That's £90. So that's quite a bit more.
That's the pricey one. That's how Lego get you. We'll get that. £49. Yeah, we'll get that.
I will say one thing. I saw people on Twitter saying that they went to order it within 5 minutes. It was already delayed, and so I bet a lot of people will not be getting it in August. These things feel like they're sold out immediately.
Yeah, they're going to be hard to get hold of straight away for sure. But it's important to point out that starter pack does include that Lego Mario with the digital face.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's cool.
It's also,
it does look
there's
cool,
going to be
yeah.
there's going to be a smartphone app as well, which has like the instructions for building things, but also like new ways to rebuild the sets and all that kind of thing.
So Nintendo are really good at smartphone apps, so that should be fine.
Yeah.
I don't think Nintendo are going to be involved with that, Sean, if I'm honest with you. Lego are pretty good with it, so I think we're in safe hands with this one.
Yeah.
Was there also rumours, I don't know if it was covered in Eurogamer, but I've read it on other news sites, that as part of this whole Mario thing that they're doing this year, they were also going to show something from the movie?
Don't see that.
Right, okay. I heard that on the Player One podcast, that they'd mentioned that as part of this whole thing, there was also going to be like the official sort of announcement to the world about the movie. Although we all know that it's being developed at the moment, or worked on at the moment, it's never actually been officially announced on a mass, like there's not been a little teaser trailer or anything like that. So I want to see what that's going to be like. I really want to see what that's going to be like.
It's going to be amazing. There's like no.
I think it is. I'm not worried about it.
I mean, even Sonic was great. Like it's no way it's not going to be an absolute brilliant fantastic film. I can't wait.
Well, they got Illumination, and they do more hits than stinkers, don't they?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so Nintendo have also adjusted their Animal Crossing eggs, because people were annoyed about this, because of the egg drop rates, because it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it was like
It was.
you got those, especially the balloons flying across.
Oh my
which
god,
were just
constant.
every 5 seconds. There's just that sound, and you start to get like a bit twitchy as soon as you hear it.
The balloons I don't mind. It's more like brilliant fish.
Balloons
Oh,
are fine.
Yeah,
balloons are fine because you know when you're getting an egg balloon.
Yes.
Like it's fine.
it's colour coded.
But it's the earth eggs that
the
you
fish
dig up
and
the fish. It's ridiculous, especially when the fish takes ages to bite. And then you finally get it and it's an egg. I said in the week, it's the biggest fuck you ever. Were you like me, though? The first one I picked up was one that I dug up. Yeah, that was the first egg that I got. It's one that you dig up. And it said, you got an earth egg. And I went a bit Daily Mail. I was like, oh, is that what they're calling Easter, is it? Earth egg. What is it, Earth Day, is it, on Sunday? No, it's not. It's
Can't
Easter,
celebrate
innit?
anything these days, can you, boy?
But then I saw water egg, and I was like, oh, is that what they're calling Easter, is it?
Water
Day, is it?
Oh, is that what they're calling it? Sky. Oh, we can't call him Sky. We can't.
Tree Day, is it? Right, go on. Yeah, so, thank God that they fixed that. And it at least shows that... Because this is the problem with old Animal Crossing stuff. If they'd have done this,
Just
not much they could have done about it. Is
Well, I don't know. They patched New Leaf quite a few times, and they added a massive expansion as well, like towards the end of its life, which was weird.
1,000 eggs a day.
Yeah, but this is not like Nintendo though, because this is like the 4th update patch in a week. Like, I mean, that's a lot of patches, and they don't normally do that so quickly. So, but I guess it was maybe people were getting annoyed, and it was maybe like wrecking the economy of it. It's a bit irritating.
I mean, they absolutely have to treat this like a live service game to not seem insanely outdated, and to keep people interested in Animal Crossing. This is it's essential that they do this stuff and quickly react to the community, get things patched, and then people will stay interested for when you want to do your little events or whatever. We've got fishing on Monday. Looking forward to fishing.
Saturday, isn't it?
Was it Saturday?
I think it's the weekend. I don't think it's
I thought it was Saturdays, yeah.
David's about to be 2 days late for a fishing tournament. Eggs on your face.
Idiot. Turning up with his
Turn up with my rod. Hi, guys.
Oh, for fuck's sake, everyone's doing that.
I got the clams.
And also one thing about this Easter event, I have, it did my head in, then I had so many eggs, I was like, I might as well lean into it. Now I've got every recipe, but that was like 2 days ago. I'm still going to have a week of this. So...
I know. Well, Chen was initially like really into it, and then she got bored and sold everything. Now she was just like, "This is horrible," and just got rid of it all.
Just make all the things, and then you'll get a little prize at the end of it. Yeah, I just thought I couldn't bother to keep fighting it.
Is that the aim? Do you get a prize?
A fucking egg.
I think
you get a prize.
If you get all the recipes, I'm not sure if you have to build everything. I have built everything as well and built storage, but definitely if you go to the recipes and there's 37 of them,
this is the most Matt thing ever. It's the most Matt thing ever. You don't want them, you don't like them. But you've just done it anyway because,
There's a prize.
I had thousands of eggs. There's no point fighting it. I might as well just do what I want and then it's over.
No point fighting it. Fighting what?
What the thousands of eggs I was picking up every day? I was like, this is clogging up my life.
Sell them.
I'll just sell them.
Just sell them, yeah.
No, you get way more if you make the fit. Don't matter about it. Don't worry about it.
Right, okay.
Okay, so also...
Take a hint, James.
I was just
move on,
speaking,
baby.
wasn't I? And then you didn't give me the chance, then you started having a go.
Read the room.
Fucking move on to the next story, baby.
Was actually doing it, and then you just started having a go as I was talking.
We're still waiting, baby.
The Last of Us 2 and Iron Man VR have been delayed until further notice.
Do you know the first thought I had when this was announced?
Matt Murray?
No, you're not always on my mind, Matt.
Come on, don't lie to me.
Those poor people that were being reported about going through horrific crunch.
Yeah.
And what was it? What was the quote? The game's finished. We just don't think it's the right time to do it. Yeah. And there's people that have just worked their asses off to get that game out for that date, and they've just gone.
Nah, actually,
yeah. I did feel bad for them, man. I ain't gonna lie. I know, there are reasons and everything, but I did feel really bad.
But also, they say, what's the actual quote?
They said, "What? Do you want me to read it, Matt, or are you just going to read it?"
Well, no, sure,
It's
Job, you
just-
read it.
So I said, logistically, the global crisis is preventing us from providing the launch experience our players deserve. They're saying we're hoping that this won't be a long delay and we'll update you as soon as we have new information to share.
All right.
Okay, well, that wasn't a bit of the quote I was actually looking for, but the one bit was basically, the good news is we're nearly done with development of The Last of Us Part 2. We are in the midst of fixing our final bugs. Now, I don't work in game development, but I assume any sort of creative output, it's never ever done. You're always like, I could do that. Well, we've got extra time now. Like, I think these people will still be crunching. So, like, well, hang on, we've got potentially another 2 months. We can do those extra patches, and maybe we're going to do in month 1. We can add this little bit we didn't have time to do. So yeah,
Well, isn't it? Because
I really feel for the staff who are like, this is never going to end.
It's like the phenomenon of day one patches is it's really common, especially for AAA games that they get they go gold actually well before they're finished, but just because they've got to go gold to actually be on shelves by a certain date. So what they do is they commit to like a supposed release version which actually is nowhere near finished, and then they go absolutely mental for the next month or two fixing bugs.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll have been doing that anyway. But yeah, as Dave says,
Looking at you, Google Stadia.
You're saying?
Looking at you, Google Stadia.
Yeah, so for them to have to go through that and then just be like, oh yeah, it's not even out now. But yeah, you say, but there'll still be stuff for them to do. There'll be obviously somewhat of a roadmap for additional content, I would imagine, and there'll be people already working on that, and just never ends.
So they've said this is all about logistics and getting it to people and everything. Is it really, or is this also because tone?
I'd imagine so. I'd imagine so. Yeah.
Do you think they're just worried? It's not. I think they're just worried that everyone who's happy to buy digitally will do so, and then will be playing it, and then people who wanted it physically are going to be subject to delays, and there'll just be a whole it'll just be like a really crap half-arsed launch, won't it?
And like spoilers and stuff because everyone's like digitally gets it early. I mean, this is as much about the people working in like disc production and I mean not just like launch events, because I think launch events can come and go, but it's the actual sort of physical act of getting this out to stores and to customers and stuff. So I guess there's
also the fact, and I don't want to sound cold-hearted when I say this, but how many people have been made unemployed over the past month around the world? You know what I mean? I'm not saying they're all going to go out. They were all going to go out and buy The Last of Us, but money's tight for a lot of people at the moment. Things are scary at the moment.
Are you saying that in regards to not like the people who were potentially working in distribution factories that are made redundant? It's more the people who actually can't afford the game because they're made redundant. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean that's part of it. I'm not saying that's the sole reason, but I think all of those factors and how crazy the world is at the moment.
Yeah, because
at
the end of the day, video games are a luxury, especially ones that cost $50. So yeah, people are cutting back on that stuff. So
especially ones that cost multi-million pounds to create, and they want to maximise profits out of it. So moving it to a launch where things are a little bit more stable around the world makes total sense. I don't think it is solely down to distribution.
And of course, it's not
could be wrong.
It's not like anyone else can steal a march on them either, because no big games are going to be out for a few months now. Like everyone's going to follow suit now, I think.
So, I'm sure there are obviously games that are due to come out between 29th of May, when this game is coming out, and the summer. The next big game, and maybe there's other ones, but the next big game for Sony is Ghost of Tsushima. And that's only out 26th of June. Now, I can't see that.
It seems a bit soon, doesn't it? Yeah.
Regardless of like infrastructure and whether people are back and work and lockdowns are off and whatnot. So then we've got this game isn't coming out on time. Maybe Ghost is delayed, or maybe they put out Ghost on launch day, but they have Last of Us after that. Maybe these games are all delayed for a really banger sort of PS5 launch, and then they can harp on about the PS5 optimization of these games, maybe. Or
that'll be shit though, won't it? If they have to,
that'd be awful if they did that.
Yeah, to just fart out two of the last big PS4 games, just as the PS5's coming out.
It distracts away from whatever they've got. That they were doing for PS5.
But I can definitely see that. If games in June, July potentially August, to say delayed, and they will be delayed. Even if lockdown's over and Corona stuff has calmed down, there's obviously going to be massive ramifications for the last 2 months and the next few months of and no one being in work. That ultimately delays everything, and so then they'll have games piling up. It makes sense to them to say, here's our PS5 launch. These games are on PS4, but hey, get on if you play on PS5, you get these enhancements. I think that feels like the most sensible option. Say, hey, look how good Last of Us Part 2 looks on PS5. Yeah, you can play it on the console, but look how good Ghost of Tsushima looks on PS5.
Well, Nintendo did it.
True.
Yeah. So it's not out of the realms of possibility, but we'll have to wait and see.
I heard on another podcast.
No one knows. There's so much uncertainty around here that it's so hard to call or wrap your head around why these companies are doing what they're doing, and if they're doing the right thing. It's impossible to tell.
I heard elsewhere in the week the idea of is Final Fantasy VII Remake the last big AAA game to come out this year? If so many others are delayed, and maybe either delayed into next year, the ones that aren't done, or maybe they think just whenever things are back to normal, they can't release it then because that's just not good. What if we're in? I mean, obviously we're in April now, but what if there's no more big games out? It'd be like the case of indies, which I'm sure will still be released, and they'll be keeping us going until next year. It's possible.
I'd be surprised if it's the case, but who knows? Who knows at this point? Things change daily, and you'd be an idiot to make any sort of prediction on how the rest of the year is going to pan out. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be a bonkers year.
Okay.
Can I? Sorry,
Okay,
just while we're between stories, I've just opened Twitter, and one of the trends in the United Kingdom is Xbox controller. Carry on.
Okay.
Is this additional break or no? We've already seen it. Love it.
Okay, so Ryan Harmon highlighted this next story to me, and it is quite interesting. Although it's quite lengthy, but I'm just going to give you some sort of edited highlights. And if anyone's interested, you can have a look. But have you heard about the Cooking Mama and the crypto?
I've heard a bit of it.
Yes.
But I would really appreciate a summary if you got one.
Okay, so IGN reported that the Switch version of this was coming out on the Switch eShop last week, but then that's now been pulled, the story and everything. And it says, so this was also supposed to be coming out in the UK and Australia, and there was even going to be physical copies of it. Game is still taking pre-orders for it at the moment, but the release dates are sort of weird and all over the place. But then some people began to wonder what's happened with this, because you go on the eShop, you can't find it. There's no evidence of it whatsoever. And then the speculation began that it was because the game was doing cryptocurrency, mining, you see. And so what this was that...
I'd read that it was making switches hot and draining the battery and all sorts.
And so that was the accusation, because they were saying that this was because the Switch was getting really hot because it was running cryptocurrency, mining, on it. And so the company that was making it, they're called First Playable, had mentioned blockchain technology before for some reason involving this game. I mean, this is a Cooking Mama game. I've no idea what they were talking about blockchain for that.
What is that?
How long have you got?
Yeah,
I don't really understand it. Not many.
It's to do with Bitcoin, Dave. Yeah. It's just
right. Okay.
It's like Bitcoin,
Yeah, the blockchain is what all of that sort of rests on, but it's not worth getting into now.
Yeah.
It's a technology, basically.
Yeah,
people get very excited about it.
They do,
and
even though hasn't it basically been proven that most applications of it are sort of pointless at this point. It's
Okay.
So anyway, at this point, Sean. At this point, sorry.
So the accusation was that the game was pulled because it was using this to mine cryptocurrency, and this is what was going on. So anyway, the developer then released a statement where they said, as the developers, we can say with certainty there is no cryptocurrency or data collection or blockchain or anything else shady in the code. The Nintendo Switch is a very safe platform with none of the data and privacy issues associated with some mobile and PC games. Because this has happened before, on mobile games, hasn't it? And also on PC games, presumably, where people have put things out that are then mining coin or whatever, for them. So this is a release from February 2019, and we presume hypothetical, like most releases are, about blockchain are. Blockchain was never brought up to us developers, and we were entertained to hear about it in late 2019, not happening anytime soon. So then this statement was quickly followed by a data miner who reported that they'd checked the code and was saying that it was clear that this offending code had been removed, and that actually it did involve this. There was crypto mining code, so they did this via reverse engineering, and then they said there's no crypto mining code in it. However, the battery does drain fast because of shoddy removal of this code. And then there was more claims that appeared speculating that it had been pulled because they'd used music that had just been ripped from YouTube. And they'd worked this out. They'd worked this out because there were file names in the code that had the name of the song underscore YouTube and stuff like that on there as well. And that they'd worked this out from reverse engineering. So then the developer made another statement, and then they said the statement about cryptocurrency was all buzzwords. The head of Planet Entertainment knows very little about these things. He just put some fancy language to get potential investors who like that stuff. As for the crashes and overheating, that would be because the game is made in Unity. By many people working on their first game, it's not the best product, but it made it through several vigorous reviews by Nintendo and Sony. There is no way crypto mining stuff could get through those tests. I doubt anyone at 1p would even be able to make such a thing. Then they said that this was all the reason that the game had been pulled. It was nothing to do with the YouTube stuff, nothing to do with the crypto mining or anything. They then said this is a legal battle between the publisher, Planet Entertainment, I presume this is the publisher, and the IP holder, Office Create. Planet Entertainment released the game against a request by Office Create to keep polishing the game, or perhaps even cancelling it. At one point, the Japanese official Create clients came to oversee development. An argument started, and the clients were told to go home if they weren't being constructive. Once they found out that Planet Entertainment released their game, they used their Nintendo contacts to pull it from the eShop and stop production of cartridges. So the game still isn't for sale. And so that's basically the end of it. But, I mean, the whole story is fascinating. And it's just nobody is still sure whether it involved, mining or whatever was going on or YouTube stuff. But it's just a massive cluster. And it's
it's not great game. PR, is it, to say, look, this ain't the best game, but fucking hell, it's our first. Leave off.
It's our first. We use Unity. Everyone knows Unity's got problems.
Yeah, to just blame it on the dev tools like that is pretty shitty as well.
It is like when James gets caught out. Look, it's not our fault. Look, no, that's not part of it. Don't worry about it. Look, it's that. Don't listen to. Look, all right, it was shit, but don't worry about that. What a weird way to conduct yourself.
Yeah, love it. Yeah.
Well, I have a feeling we will never see that game again.
Almost certainly not. No.
No,
and I think we'll be all right as well. I think we'll manage.
Yeah, but also the people that did get the physical copies of that game, because I'm assuming some shipped, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, there are people that have it apparently. So yeah,
going to be worth a pretty penny, for sure. Yeah, interesting.
Okay. Last story is that Outer Wilds and Disco Elysium have won some awards.
Yeah,
so
fantastic.
This was BAFTA, wasn't it? Was this BAFTA Awards?
You tell us, James.
Yeah, you're the news person.
You did demand that this was in the news, though, Sean. So
I know.
Demand.
Let's not dig him out for that.
Yeah. No, I didn't even mention this. I mentioned the Switch port. Which, sorry, James, I've just ruined that for you. Carry on.
Oh, that is a good point. Yeah.
Living now.
Anyway, so Outer Wilds won several of the awards for it. They got Best Game, Game Design, and Original Property. Disco Elysium got 3. They got Debut Game, Music, and Narrative. But the performer in a leading role went to Life is Strange 2 with Gonzalo Martin, who was Sean Diaz. He won the award for that.
So just one for Life is Strange 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on,
just the one
this has
BAFTA.
been pissing me off all week because these two have been walking about Twitter. Here's the thing, right? Whenever we get the BAFTA awards come up, we all look at it and go, "What? How's that one that? What?
Okay, no,
but this year,
BAFTA,
because it fits into your point of view, you're going, wow, that just shows.
I've always suspected
just goes to
BAFTA.
show what a great institution BAFTA.
Yeah.
Well, BAFTA
Sean,
is,
would you like to thank BAFTA?
Legitimising what I already thought. To be fair, it's a good set of winners. I mean, Ape Out getting audio achievement, I can see why Sayonara Wild Hearts getting
I don't
artistic
agree with it.
achievement. I really like
I
Sayonara
don't-
Wild Hearts, but I don't know if artistic achievement is. Don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with what was the one you said before? What was the first one you said?
Ape Out.
Ape Out. The problem I found with Ape Out is that the result of the work they did wasn't pleasing to my ears.
Yeah.
So I was kind
See,
of
I
like,
loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
Okay.
I really
I
enjoyed
love
that.
a little bit of that, don't you? The other one that I wasn't too sure about. Now, Disco Elysium, I think it deserves a hell of a lot of awards. I said this to you, Sean, and you were upset with me, but best music.
Yeah.
Like, I love the music in that game. I think it's really,
And that's
really
why it won.
good. I don't think it's the best of the year.
Why? What beat it, do you think?
Luigi's Mansion, for a start. I had incredible
I could not
music
name
throughout.
a single tune from Luigi's Mansion 3.
Because you barely played it. How
There is
far
that.
into it did you get?
A couple of hours in.
Yeah, fucking hell. How can you only play a couple
Yeah,
of
but
hours
the
of that
music
game?
in Disco Elysium was just so atmospheric. It was just, and it was so subtle as well. There's not a lot of music in it, but what it does do is really powerful and really
Yeah.
But it
draws
really
you in.
repeats
I
it a
absolutely
lot.
love it. Yeah, but it's so good. I absolutely love it. It's not like traditional songs. It's just musical cues, a musical theme here and there. I think it's absolutely stunning. So I'm well happy with that one.
I think it's good. I didn't think it excelled at that. I think it excelled in a lot of things. But the music, I was quite surprised to see. Anyway, but this is the thing with awards, isn't it? It's all subjective. It's
It's not these ones, Dave.
I
no.
would never turn around and say Outer Wilds shouldn't have won that, or Disco Elysium shouldn't have won that. My personal preference differs from these awards, and that's the same with every award ceremony. Isn't it?
They were bang on with the animation though, because that went to Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think the animation in that
was-
is a massive step forward for from everything that I've played. But I don't know what it was up against, so can't really compare it to those games. But
I was
Yeah,
just
no, it's- I mean-
sorry, because I had seen people kicking off about the mobile game of the year because it went to Call of Duty Mobile, but I only just clocked that it was an audience vote one, so that explains that. Can't trust people, can you?
Really can't.
no, you can't. Does it say what the nominations were for the mobile one?
It doesn't actually. No. To be fair, I mean, was there
I'd be
much
interested to see how many of those
competition?
are Apple Arcade ones. Yeah, of course. And it was great for mobile last year, wasn't it?
Actually, yeah, it's
The
like,
release
it's
of
like
Apple
Apple
Arcade.
Arcade. Yeah, Jesus.
Yeah. There was a bunch of great games. What the golf should be up there, definitely.
I'm really happy that Marty Susalo won as best supporting actor, because Artie in Control is an amazing character.
I still need to play that.
He's a janitor, but he's just a fantastic character, and everyone who plays that game absolutely loves him. So I'm really happy that Control did something. Because I also thought, the main actors, or the actors who played a part of like the bigger characters, I thought they did fantastically well as well.
I would come to speak. Going back to music, I'd probably put Outer Wilds over Disco Elysium.
I wouldn't. I
Because that
wouldn't
theme
argue.
tune-
The Outer Wilds soundtrack is beautiful.
I think Disco is like a more cohesive like sound and vibe. But I mean,
Savage Planet also, if that was in the time period that was allowed. I loved the music.
I
in
thought you
that.
were talking about the
That's
band
incredible.
Savage Planet. Okay, no, that's Savage Garden.
Savage Planet with their album Disruption in Production. Okay, is that it? We done with the news?
That's the end of the news,
at the end of that, what we wanted to move on was the Disco Elysium's now been announced for the Switch officially. Is it? It was
It
mentioned
has,
in
yeah.
an
It's
interview.
mentioned in an interview, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll be fascinated to see how they get that to work.
Yeah, I'm a bit.
As you know, there's a hell of a lot of text.
Yeah, because I mean, what's interesting is so the reveal was it's the guy who is currently working on the design document for the interface for the Switch version who mentioned this in an interview. So I don't want to go straight in with like I don't think that'll fucking work. But yeah, I think it'll be certainly be a hurdle to get over. But I mean,
Have you seen interviews with them talking about how they designed Disco Elysium? I think was it on No Clip?
it was one of those
documentary
GameSpot
on it?
ones, wasn't it?
Right, it was a GameSpot
What's it called?
one.
I can't remember. But yeah, it's the series. It just talks with devs and stuff. Yeah.
When you see him talking about that, about how they designed the interface in that game, I'd be very surprised if they fucked this up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they obviously
if
think
they're
about this a
designing
lot.
that
Yeah,
interface, a hell of a lot of focus on that. And all I'll say is that if you see a cursor in any screenshot for the the Switch version of this game, probably avoid it.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a cursor, and it would mean that they've gone like the easy route out. But I'd be very, very surprised if they didn't nail this. To be honest,
No,
with
but
you.
if they had a control system a little bit like the Destiny UI, what do you think about that?
No. Baby. When I walk
There's
around,
a lot
when
of things
that
on
character's
screen.
walking
How
around,
do you? But how do you envisage it? Just obviously you should. What your usual stick and like things will glow.
use the stick to walk the character around, and you sort of face things, and they'll glow when you can interact with them. I think.
Facing is
Just press,
there's
just
more
press a
than
button and then everything glows like in the game.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the problem
Yeah.
there? I don't understand.
Yep.
It's not difficult.
Totally, and then maybe use the D-pad to flick between various different. If you're near
hotspots.
something where there's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
what
thing
I do.
that is the least of an issue. Yeah, it's the fact there's like so much text in that tiny screen.
That's the biggie.
That's the challenge.
Just fill the screen. Fill the screen. Yeah, there's a lot of reading on that screen, and we're sort of blessed with these wonderful screen resolutions now on these devices, and the Switch has not got that.
No.
So that's a bit of a concern, but we'll see.
I still think I'm surprised they haven't like released like an iPad version or something of it, because it would be perfect for that. It would be it'd be so much better on there.
Yeah, that'd
'Cause
work.
then you've got like touch control just for moving characters around.
Yeah.
You know, you can like select stuff. And also the reading would be a lot nicer.
It's just nice that it's gone from being this sort of relatively niche PC game to now like every port it's just money waiting on the table at this point. Like it's there's just been so much good publicity around it. Like everyone who doesn't have a gaming PC or a Nvidia account has just been absolutely dying to play it. So it's just nice that this is all happening this year theoretically.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right,
That's it.
Let's get on to an hour and 25 minutes into the show. Let's get on to what we have been playing. And I think Matt should start this week because he's been playing the big release, Final Fantasy VII, Matt.
Yes. So I'm only 4.5 hours in.
Should we explain? This isn't officially out until Friday.
Well, we talked about this the other week, didn't we? It was in the news.
Yeah, you bought it early, didn't you? Because they shipped it early, right?
Yeah, I mean, so Square Enix announced that they were going to ship things early, and then I then suddenly thought, hang on, I'll get it early now. So I bought from Shop 2, and I managed to basically get in before they sold out of their initial allocation. I think when I checked the day after I'd ordered, that they were sold out. I think I actually originally went to Simply Games and they were already gone of their launch allocation. I think when people had heard that they could get us early, everyone just went mad for it. So yeah, I got this on the weekend, and but yeah, I've played about 4.5 hours so far. Now I have not played the original Final Fantasy VII. I played a little bit of Final Fantasy VIII. Now that's like the cutesy type one, isn't it? If I remember correctly.
No, that's Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah.
Oh, is it maybe not? Okay. Well, I cannot even think about why I was playing that, but I do remember playing a like sort of cutesy Final Fantasy VII. Anyway, regardless, never played this one. The reviews have obviously been stunning, but I'm coming to this like totally fresh, really, without having. I obviously know about that, that story moment because even if you haven't played this game, everyone knows about that. But apart from that, and I know Cloud. And I know the name of some characters, but that's about it. So I'm so far I'm really, really massively enjoying it. But I also feel incredibly early into it. Actually, I think a lot of things that a lot of the reviews said that kind of surprised me was that they said that this game has taken a lot of the reviews between like say 35 and 45 hours to get through the main story. Other people played spent way longer to do a lot of the side stuff. Now I was always under the impression, I think a lot of us were, that actually this game will be in the region of 20 to 25 hours. So it's much longer than I thought. But yeah, I'm only like 4 and a bit hours in, so I barely scratched the surface. Now,
That's still a fair chunk.
yeah, I haven't got an awful lot to say because I'm so early on, but it looks stunning. So much really looks good, but I kind of feel like I think I'm going to enjoy this for what it is. But I kind of feel like I've got the same feeling of watching like the last film of a trilogy. Now, obviously Final Fantasy VII's been out there forever, And I really feel like if you've like played the original, you're going to have such a different experience compared to me. I'm just basically like seeing it for the game it is today, but I've got some nagging feeling in my head that people are like, that was probably that theme remixed, or that's a reference, or this is that, or how come if they changed this that much?
Well, it's got to do that stuff, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it will. But I feel like I'm
Matt,
just watching
does that matter? Like, can't you just enjoy it for what it is?
I suppose the question
it's
is,
kind of nagging.
why,
I'm still enjoying it. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving it.
Why was that okay for Resident Evil 2 and not this? Was it what was the difference between the two games?
Well, I mean, I think if you haven't played Resident Evil 2, I think you'd have the same sort of thing. But I think that this is a bigger lead up, and it's like it's a much grander thing. So I don't know. And also, Final Fantasy is such like a massive series. I know all the games aren't linked, and there's like different stories for each one. But I don't know. I just got this nagging feeling, and I just wish I had played the original to really experience this in this version. I mean, I'm enjoying it for what it is. But to get on the actual game, I have basically no I've no preconceived ideas about where the story is going. I basically know nothing about it. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. I think it looks absolutely stunning in places, and then not great in other places. It's a really impressive game to look at. But then there's been a lot of places where like some textures have basically just been like a grey slab, and it's kind of takes you out of the experience. And like characters like Cloud, obviously, and Tifa and Barrett, and you've got those like initial group of like 5 or so people that they look fantastic animation, they look stunning. And I've got to this first sort of hub world area where you can do like side missions and whatnot. And talking to those characters, that they kind of look like Fallout 3 characters, like their head is staying in one position, but their mouth is sort of moving, sort of on its own. Again, it feels like a massive change, a difference between the main character animation and these like side characters you'll meet as you do side missions. But no, I mean, I'm absolutely loving it so far. I haven't really played a JRPG maybe ever. I mean, the last big RPGs I played.
Arguably, this isn't one, right? Because it's a lot more of an action game. Yeah.
Because a lot of people are saying, this is. I've obviously listened to podcasts, and they're like, this is now my favourite JRPG. And I'm like, I don't think I've really played no JRPG. What's the definition of a JRPG? Is it a turn-based Japanese role-playing
Generally,
game?
Yeah. It's like JRPGs tend to have like, you have a party rather than just like one character. They tend to be like turn-based combat. But not necessarily, I guess. Yeah, the lines have been blurring for some time, I guess, and because you can play this like a traditional Final Fantasy game, can't you? Apparently, you can change it so that it's
Yeah, well, when you start the game, there was the difficult settings like story, and I think it says below like easy mode. There's classic mode, which I mean I can't remember now, but I think that's basically when you do take turns. I can't remember, but there's classic mode, and I'm playing regular mode or normal mode, whatever that is. I presume there's a hard as well, but I can't remember. Yeah, so but yeah, the combat is excellent. Now I've seen some people like say, "Oh, it's not basically just going to be button mashing," which is kind of how I played it when I played the demo at EGX. And this demo that's recently released on PS4. There are tactics in that, okay, particularly if I talk about the demo, because at least everyone has definitely played that, but in a demo at least, you're with Cloud and you've got another character in your party called Barrett, and you can press like left and right on the D-pad to switch between them, do different moves. Obviously, they each have different moves that could be much better against a certain type of enemy. So Barrett is better for long distances, Cloud's better at close combat. So you do switch. So there is like tactics there. You're not just mindlessly smashing, the attack button, because you do have to think, okay, that's an enemy in a far distance. I'll change to Barrett. Maybe Cloud is like busy, or he's like he can't do a special move. I'll switch to Barrett. So there are tactics there, but I will say in the minute-to-minute combat, when I'm with Cloud or whoever I'm controlling, I am basically just smashing that square button to attack. I guess because this is an action game, there are always elements of that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was expecting anyway, right? The real tactical stuff's only going to be for the bosses or some of the harder enemies, and the rest of the time it does feel I kind of expected that to be the case, to be honest with you, Matt.
Yeah, and it is really, really fun. I mean, it's really satisfying even just doing that. I mean, again, I haven't really played a Devil May Cry game. I tried to play a bit of the one from last year for about half an hour, but I stopped. But there were bits, certainly with Cloud, where you can sort of keep hitting an enemy and you can switch between these two modes. I can't remember what they're called. Basically, you press triangle to switch either between a mode where you're you can move quite quick and hit, but you can switch to another mode where I think it might be called Destroyer mode or something. I can't remember. Whereby like actual movement is really slow, but you can hit much harder. So when you run into an enemy, you press triangle, switch to this sort of close combat move, and you can almost like hit him into the air and keep juggling up into the air depending on how much you've hit them. But yeah, combat is just immensely fun. So you're attacking enemies, particularly bosses, but also just lower level enemies. They have this like health bar at the top, and beneath that they have, I think it's called a pressure bar. And basically, when you keep hitting them, that gradually fills up and it is red. And when it gets to the end, then the enemies are staggered, and that's when you can like smash them for massive damage. And like that's just really, really satisfying as well. So you know, trying to get enemies' pressure bar up, and obviously there's an ability you get where you can basically scan enemies and you know what their weakness is, so you switch between people in your party. But yeah, this is all new to me, but I've not played this game before, or these sorts of games before, but I'm really, really enjoying it so far. The story is weird, having never played it.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it coherent at least?
Well, I mean... It's coherent, but I've got like big questions. And like this game, how old is like Final Fantasy VII? Like 20 years old or whatever it is. You know, these are questions that people probably ask. But I'm like, I mean, I'm not going to say anything. But in the first, well, even in a demo, like the thing you happen to do in a demo, I'm like, why are these people even doing this? It doesn't really make sense. And then there's like a fallout from what happened in the demo. And I'm like,
yeah, but could this be a simple situation where it's just a plot reveal later on and you find out all that stuff, rather than going into it thinking I should be knowing why they're doing this?
Yeah, maybe. I'm enjoying the fact that there is a bit of mystery. I mean, like we've already sort of come up against some, you know, enemy characters. I'm like, what's this about? And actually, like when I'm not gonna say anymore. I don't want to spoil anything. But no, I feel like I barely scratched the surface. But having said that, these 4.5 hours have absolutely flown by. Because 4.5 hours in the game is it's not like a quick like 10 minutes here and there, like, but it's really flown by. The combat is really, really fun. Switching between enemies is fun. Switching between like people in your party is fun. Meeting new people and sort of recruiting them to your party is really fun. It looks stunning. I'm really, really interested to see where the story goes. And again, other than that one story beat, considering this game is incredibly old, I know nothing about the story, so it's all fully new to me. It's all there to be sort of experienced, and I'm gonna keep playing it. I hope I'm definitely gonna have more impressions next week. So have any of you guys played the original?
So I played what at the time I thought was quite a lot of it. And then in the years since, whenever I said, I got up to this bit, and I was like, oh, yeah, so you've done the intro, well done. I
hate people.
I know, relatively speaking, not done that much of it. But I think I'm excited about this because I think I'm in the perfect sweet spot of like, there will be bits where I'm like, hey, it's that guy. Oh yeah, I remember that or whatever. But broadly speaking, I don't really remember much of the story. So
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this.
How about you, James? Have you played any of the original?
Yeah, I mean, I've said before, I've played it
you've tried,
times.
Yeah.
I've tried like about 3 or 4 times. I usually play for about 15 hours and then stop. And it's happened many times like that. But yeah.
Yeah, because I really want one of you guys to play it so you can actually talk about it like in a articulated way. Because I feel like I'm so new to it. I have no sort of real. I can't even like really compare to other JRPGs. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, because I haven't even played them. So I feel like I'm sort of a bit of a lost for words. As much as I'm impressed. I've
got it installed and ready to play this week. I can't
lovely
wait.
Job.
But the thing is that I've always wanted to play a JRPG in terms of a long-winded story that features like these. How do I put it? Like these wacky ideas, like these enemies that you wouldn't normally play in a normal game, and these. I don't know. It's just the expanse of a story like that I've always liked the idea of JRPGs being these really long stories that where you totally get invested with the characters around you.
They do loads of like really interesting stuff as well. Like Final Fantasy
right?
VI, you'll never play it because it's one of the old SNES ones, and maybe they'll remake that next. Who knows? But that 2/3 of the way into the game, like you lose to the baddie, and the last section of the game is like in the apocalypse after the baddies won, and it's great. It's so good. And they do all sorts of weird shit like that.
All that stuff sounds great. However, I have never enjoyed playing.
Yeah.
Right? I've never enjoyed playing games like that. I don't like selecting a menu and what attack and then watching the attack and then, I lose, so next time I'll choose a different attack. I've never enjoyed that stuff. But what I played at EGX was perfect for me because it was like, I love the combat in this. I love the combat in this. I like how it feels like you're also doing that turn-based stuff alongside the action stuff.
Yeah, it's a perfect combination of them
perfect.
two styles, yeah.
So I was like, okay, I mean, that's brilliant. Final Fantasy VII, everyone praises the story. They say it's one of the best ones. The big barrier was the turn-based stuff. This game removes that and replaces it with something I think that I'm going to enjoy doing. I'm in. I'm fully in. So yeah, I'm actually really, really excited to get to this. But like you, Matt, I've never played a Final Fantasy game. I've never. My memories of Final Fantasy was Paul Langley at school telling me how much he loved it and sitting me down in his bedroom to watch him play a little bit of it, and I was like, I am not into this at all. And I remember him saying this. I don't know how real this is or how relevant this is. You need to get on a train, and you can just get on a train, but you have to wait for the right time for the train to arrive. And it just reminded me of like when I met James, and he was telling me about Shenmue. He's got to wait for a bus
to go
to
work.
That doesn't sound good to me. But yeah, I remember him saying that. But yeah, no, I'm finally going to get to experience a little bit of this world, and I'm really excited about it. I can't wait.
Yeah, and like the fact is actually much longer, like basically twice the length I thought it was going to be. I know everyone's like, oh, it's just as one section of the game, and like the full game could be like 3 times as long. But I'm really excited. The fact it's actually much longer. Like 4 or 5 hours is a good amount of game to play. So
I mean the story was, or the story that everyone was touting about was, they just had to get something out, so they chopped it up. Whereas by the sounds of it, they started developing from the start of the game and then just thought, we've expanded this so much that maybe this is a separate thing. We're going to have to chop it up. I'm looking forward to getting stuck in, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more next week.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm excited to have more thoughts next week. Well, because I'm going to keep on playing this. It's really, really, really got me. So I'm excited to see more.
Cool. All right. Have you got anything else?
I played a bit of Asphalt 9. Sort of sick of seeing Sean go on about it and everyone on Twitter going on about it. And it's really, really fun. I installed it, and actually I played a little bit on my phone, and I was like, hell no, Sean played this on Switch. What the hell am I doing? So I installed it on Switch. And yeah, it's like a really fun little sort of Burnout type game. Like I actually really like the fact that the races are super short. Like 60 seconds or so in length. It looks great. It's like a fun little thing to blast around on. So, I mean, already though, I think I paid for like 25 minutes or 20 minutes or so. I was still in that first sort of cup, whatever it is, and already there's like, okay, if you want to refuel, you've got like 6 refuels left. I'm like, oh, don't do this.
It's weird because now that I've played more of it, like the microtransaction stuff is really horrendous, but I think you can pretty much ignore it. It's really weird. It's like they've done the worst possible. I don't know. Maybe it's making tons of money, and I'm an idiot, and I don't know what I'm talking about. But it seems to me that you can just like plod through the career mode on your own, and there's like dozens of hours of stuff to do there. Like I've spent about 10-15 hours on it, and I'm about 8% through the career mode. And like there's daily events that you can try out, and they earn you like shitloads of the in-game currency. It only seems that like there's like special events and other stuff going on that. I think that's where you would need to start spending money, but I don't know. It's weird. It just seems really unnecessary. I still wish they would just
but no.
charge 25, 30 quid for it and just give you everything. But whatever.
Did you say you bought like the Founders Pack thing? What was that? You said, did you
No,
get that?
there's one available. Yeah, it's like 30 quid and it gets you like 5 cars and a bunch of currency. But again, I'm still like, yeah, that's 5 cars out of about like 50 odd. Like, fuck off. I'm not paying 30 quid for that. Like,
Yeah,
and like,
ridiculous.
and because I streamed a bit of it the other week after I streamed Alyx. I'll get onto that in a bit. And I was like showing people, it's like, oh yeah, this car's like, 8 quid or whatever, but it's got like a thing on it saying like 90% off. And you're like, how is that 90% off? How much are you charging for this fucking car? Like, it's just weird. It's just, that stuff is really manipulative, but you can just ignore it, I think, and just enjoy doing the races.
Those clips you tweeted in the week, Sean, it just made me think, if you'd have got into it, if you'd have given it a bit of time, you'd have fucking love Onrush.
No, I did.
Like, seriously.
I did like Onrush.
Yeah, but you didn't play it for that much. You only played it for the free weekend, didn't you?
Oh, that's true. I never actually bought it, did I?
Yeah, no, that
Just remembered I never owned the game.
I'm not having a pop at you. I'm just saying that, the stuff that you were pointing out there, you'd have loved Onrush if you'd have got into it big time. Yeah, it's fucking
What
great.
I do find disappointing about this game is that it's really fun, but and they probably won't because it financially doesn't make sense. But I would love there to be a console version where all our stuff is gone, and I'll just pay 15, 20 quid. It's a really solid race. It's really, really fun. But obviously financially it makes sense to have a free download and then do the in-app stuff. But
Cool.
But no, I played a bit of that, and I've mostly been absolutely hammering Animal Crossing. All week.
We should probably give that a rest this week and then come back to it again later on,
that's
right?
fair. I would,
Yeah, but no, I've basically
we've
been hammering that all day, every day, and I'm knee deep in that. But no, that's about it for me this week.
Same here. I'm in the same situation where I've been smashing the shit out of Animal Crossing, but again, we'll save that. We've had a few moans about
I've got questions though. But if we start saying we'll have a massive discussion,
we're going to end up talking for ages, aren't we?
Yeah, don't do that.
okay.
Because I'm going to go to bed.
We could set a strict 5-minute timer.
All right, 5 minutes, go.
Right. James.
Anyone that's complaining, moan at Matt because I was willing to move on.
Hannah, I'm doing a 5-minute timer. I've got questions. Right, James.
You've already moved 15 seconds. You've lost 15 seconons.
Right, James, you saw credits on this game this week, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, do you think that this game is going to be holding your interest for like 2 or 3 years, like the other ones have?
Yeah, because Matt, that's not. No, it's not. You see, this is the thing that's really interesting about this.
Wait. Slow down. You saw credits.
Yes.
Yeah, I've done it. I've done it as well now.
Shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've had credits.
Okay,
no,
cool.
because it doesn't mean what you think it means.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Because with these games, because obviously it's a game that you can never actually finish, they always put the credits in like when something happens
after a major event.
Yeah, it's like it's not. It doesn't mean you finished it at all. It just means it's like, okay, here's an opportunity to show who played.
Okay, right.
And so you can see them every week. Like every week, you can see the credits. It's like it happens all the time after you've done something in the game.
But have you now seen like the biggest of events? Like from now on, is it basically seasonal stuff?
Nope, not at all.
Okay,
no way. Because it's like, I mean, I've all the shops are going to have to be upgraded. There's like tons of stuff that's still got to be done.
I haven't got to that bit yet, but I don't think I'm that far. Like I've put out like plots out for other people, and there's basically Kev keeps talking about KK Slider. So I'm like, tell me I'm not getting near. I know this isn't a game where there's an end really, but I'm like, tell me there's give you bigger things other than just seasonal changes.
Of course there is.
Okay,
this isn't the point of like, it's not like Destiny where it's like, you've finished all the story missions and stuff and now you're just leveling up your light level. It's not like that. It's just there is lots of other things to do like later on.
Okay, right.
There'll be different coloured beds.
Exactly.
And
different fish
piece
and
of wardrobes, Matt.
Different fish. Right, James, I have loved Stardew Valley, and you've always said actually you way prefer Animal Crossing. It's way less stressful.
No, don't go down this road.
No, we've got 3 minutes and 12 seconds to go. Like over last week,
on my watch.
Well, I've got a time here, so don't worry about your watch. I mean, I've absolutely loved this game over last week, but there's a constant sort of need to do stuff. Now, maybe that's just me.
There's not.
Maybe I don't. No, because it's like, have you paid your debt on your house yet? Have you done this?
No.
You got this thing? No. That's what the game's asking you. Whereas actually, games like Stardew.
The game never asks you that.
It doesn't bug you with that stuff.
You don't have to do stuff you don't want to. It's up to you. You're the one who's creating all these checklists, Matt. You don't have to do this.
Egg this and bunny that, and
Perfect get this. It goes. There's some stuff here. You can do it if you want
to. Yeah.
And the mortgage thing, the way, obviously it sort of presents it. It's like, right, we've done this upgrade. You now owe me this much money. But obviously, in reality, what it means is, this is how much money the next upgrade is going to cost you. And that's just one of umpteen things you could aim towards if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. But...
Some people, they just
you are.
Well, no, some people don't even bother upgrading the house. Mm-hmm. They're just like, okay, I'm quite happy with what I've got. Yeah. I just want it to be like this. Yeah. You don't have to do anything in this. You really don't. It's like...
But then you get letters saying, hey, your rating of your house is only this. Why don't you do this? Or we really want you to add more people to the thing. Why don't you do this? And it's like...
That's only if you go... Okay, so you get the letter about the rating for your house. But, the stuff...
Once a week. Yeah.
But the stuff about the rating of the island in general, you have to go out of your way to find that out, don't you?
Well, no.
Yeah, you have to go and talk to Isabel.
We go, okay, well, that's hardly going away. You're talking to Isabel. She's like, she came.
Well, it is because you got to go talk to Isabel and then choose a dialogue option saying, "What's my town rating?"
Well, I guess if I ignore the menus, but I just thought it was funny that actually this game does actually feel more stressful than games like Stardew, because Stardew there's no push whatsoever. You do what you want to. Anyway, and regardless,
it's exactly the same. What are you talking about?
No, because Stardew, there's no have you done this? Have you done that? There's just you do what you.
There's none of that in this either. You can do this. You can do that.
I feel like there's an underlying debt issue and events and stuff. There's none of that in.
Do you know what I think it is? Genuinely, I'm not. Again, I always have to qualify.
Okay,
this.
I'm not quick. We've got 47 seconds.
Okay, you're seeing everyone on Twitter post up shit that you haven't done yet, and you feel compelled to try and get to that point.
Yeah, I'm so far behind.
I don't care. I'm about a week behind James and Sean, and I'm not bothered at all. Yeah. I'm totally fine with that. I'm just cracking on with my little projects when I turn on to see what I do. I'll get to that point where KK Slider turns up.
Okay,
don't you worry. I'll get to that
point.
To
go. I will say this time last week we were on the pod and I was like, I've really done surface level stuff. The last week I've been fully min-maxing and I've been enjoying it. I've been absolutely loving it.
Give us the spreadsheet for predicting turnip prices.
Yeah, I mean that was not my spreadsheet. Everyone's on that.
No.
Everyone's on that. Anyway,
not everyone's on that.
Everyone is massively into it. If you're massively into the game, everyone. Oh, okay, that's it.
You've completely misunderstood what this game's about, right? Okay. Anything else? No, let's go to James. James.
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously been playing that, but I've also played 2 other games this week. I mean, Yakuza 3 I finally finished. Because I've talked about it a lot, and it's another Yakuza game that I've finished now. And I mean, there's not really much more to say about this beyond what I've already said about Yakuza games, because they are very formulaic. They run the same sort of formula in every single game, and it all depends whether it's good for me on whether the story delivers or not. And this one definitely does. It's a really good one. I'd say this is the best one since 6 and 0 that I've played, because it's definitely better than 1 and 2, in terms of the story. I mean, the pacing is a bit off in places, and towards the end, it does a bit of an annoying thing towards the end where it really ramps up the story, where it's going. It starts to get really built up, really exciting. You feel like you're coming to a conclusion, and then suddenly, boom. Nothing happens. It's just slows down completely. You go back to go back to the orphanage again that you're taking care of, and you spend quite a lot of time there, and everything just sort of slows down, and then it builds up again. And that was a bit annoying, because it felt like they were building towards something, and then it doesn't happen. But I mean, the villains in this, the characters that are just a lot more nuanced than in the earlier games. They're than especially in 2. And there's one character in particular who I genuinely despised at points in this game, because of just the way they behave, and just the what they're doing to the characters that you do begin to care about. And one of the things that I found really interesting is that you can compare it a lot with 6, I think, because it's got the same sort of thing of Kiryu going to another location, meeting new people, and sort of forming relationships with them. And even though they're from a completely sort of different background to the people in Tokyo, and it's got that similar sort of vibe, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm looking forward to playing 4 now, because although I'm going to leave it for a little while, but it was good. I mean, the only thing I really didn't like about it was the combat, which is, I mean, Dave, I know you didn't like it at all, like in Zero or whatever. It's terrible in this. It's like really, really bad. And like it's like, I mean, it feels like it's like a PS2 game, like in terms of combat. I really hated it. It's apart from the stuff I showed you with the like how you can get special moves by like photographing weird events that are going on. That's pretty good. It's a good gimmick. But
do you know what it is? Right, it's not so much that the combat itself is terrible.
It's the repetition in it.
It's the repetition.
Yeah.
It's not that it's terrible. It's that it asks you to do it so much.
It's worse in this game. You just
kind of think, oh, why? Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, just let me walk down the street without getting chased. Like, I don't want to constantly have to find myself in combat scenarios. Tell you what, if it removed the random encounters, that game, I would have enjoyed that game a hell of a lot more.
See, and that's the kind of like the JRPG formula stuff that I don't like either, like generally. And because I mean, I remember playing Skies of Arcadia on the Dreamcast, and like you're like playing through that game and then hearing the disc spinning up and just being like, oh, for fuck. Like, and again, it's like there's going to be an encounter, and it's just really irritating. And it does feel like that's a holdover for this series as well. Like they've got to figure somehow for you to like gain experience points, and this is the way you do it. And you see, I don't mind it in the other games, like especially like the Kiwami remakes and 0 and 6, because at least there's like different fighting styles you can switch between. Like the finishers can look really cool and stuff like that. Whereas in this, it was just it felt like a PS2 game. Like the combat, it just was not fun at all. I didn't enjoy it. And also like towards the end, those random encounters were getting ridiculous. Like they were like it was like just walking down the street and like everyone wanted a piece of him. It's just ridiculous. But overall, it's one of the good ones. It's definitely better than 2. So I will get around to 4 at some point, but I want to play some other stuff in between because it was good.
So that new one, that's been shown off, and that does have traditional sort of turn-based.
That is a JRPG, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but when's that coming out? And how do you think that's going to be? Obviously, do you think that's going to be better because it won't be random? It will be random, but it will be a bit more structured than those things rather than sort of just open world random battles. Do you think that would be better or worse?
I'm scared because the thing is like Persona 5 and like the Persona game, like Persona 4 that I played through. I enjoyed those games, but again, I enjoyed them despite the combat and despite like the turn-based stuff because I'm not a huge fan of it. And this, I'm not looking forward to it like so much because of that. And the reviews for it's supposed to be coming out by the end of the year here. It's already out in Japan, and I think it's had kind of slightly mixed reviews, as in like it's supposed to be good, but then I think they maybe like that, like the turn-based stuff, but weren't so keen on the story. So I'm a bit concerned that it's not going to be great. But we'll see. But,
cool.
There you go. The only other thing I played is Figment. And did you remember me talking about this before?
No,
I can't remember.
No.
So this was a game that I played at EGX Rezzed like about a year or so ago, like a while ago, and it's a kind of like a puzzle platform game, but with like very minimal combat. And I really liked it when I played it at Rezzed because it had a really interesting art style and the music was great as well.
Fuck, I've just looked it up. Yeah, I've had my eye on this.
Yeah, it was discounted on Switch, so I bought it, and because I've for a long time I've been like, I want to play that because I really enjoyed the thing, and it's what it is you play a character.
I remember this. Yeah, you're going through. Yeah, I do remember this. Go on, sorry.
So you play a character who is in like a coma following a car crash, and you then have to travel around like this sort of world, like fighting against all these nightmares to try and like wake yourself up. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on.
Sorry, jokes.
And so, but really, the game's about depression, and it's about like fighting against like unpleasant thoughts that make you feel like you just want to give up. And so, throughout the game, you come across like these nightmare bosses. And you have to try and like get through all these like environmental puzzles so that you can get to them and then fight them. And each of them sing songs like to you about like how shit life is. Basically, this is what they do, and all the songs are about feelings of inadequacy and like failure and just the general futility of life is like covered in these songs. And the thing is. Usually, after you've beaten them, it brings up like a counterpoint to try and break the depression. That's what you're trying to do, so that you can get through and then eventually wake up. And overall, it works. It's really well put together, and the puzzles for me are just on the right side of annoying because I'm not a huge fan of puzzles in general, but these are the kind of puzzles I do like. I like environmental ones, where you've got to manipulate the environment to fix something. That kind of works. But the thing is that although this is a game about beating depression, and I really appreciate the sentiment, I still found myself affected by the negative songs. Because the trouble is there's a lot of truth in some of the points they make, from my perspective. And particularly, there was one point where they're talking about how time ultimately makes everything meaningless, because of the outstretch of time. And maybe I'm just too cynical, but the sort of the solution, inverted commas, that you have when after you beat one of them didn't really work for me, because I still thought, well, yeah, but it's still true. What's being said here is still true. It's maybe just 'cause I'm too cynical, and I don't know, maybe it just didn't work for me so much. But it's still a very good game, and it's still very sort of enjoyable to go through. I remember, yeah.
Poor James. Yeah, no, I remember you forcing me to play this game at EGX, and I liked what I played. Was everything in rhyme? I'm trying to remember. Was it?
Yeah, that's right. All the songs are in rhyme, and it worked really well. I mean, I wouldn't recommend you play this, Dave, because there's the whole thing with spiders, which is ridiculous.
Like that, yeah.
It's like there's a big spider thing in it, so don't play it.
Yeah, but it's very
quite stylised, though, isn't it?
Yes, it's like a children's storybook, isn't it?
It is, yeah, but they're particularly a lot of them. Later on, it's nasty.
I just went to buy it, but it's back up to £18 on the Switch.
Yeah,
yeah, all right. Nothing to do with the spiders there, Sean. Did it? Don't try and tough it out, mate. Don't try and tough it out. Right, okay. Well, let's get to Sean then.
Hello. Hang on. Sorry, I just decked my microphone by accident. I will cut that out, Matt. I apologise. Right, what have I been playing? Half-Life Alyx. Played a bit more of this, streamed it, and my PC shat itself after half an hour this time.
Half an hour, right? It seems to be a problem.
It does seem to be a problem. It's really weird, though. Obviously, the first thing you assume is, PC's not good enough. But it runs perfectly up until it just completely shuts down my graphics card. So I'm thinking it may be, assuming it's not a bug, I'm wondering if it's a temperature issue or something. Don't know. But, I mean, it was incredible, but I absolutely shat myself several times. I did a few encounters with the zombies and headcrabs and stuff, and, I had a bad time.
Going up to that window and one just appearing the other side of the window looked horrific.
Fuck, man, that was so bad.
That was more down to, Sean just...
sprinting straight up to the window,
right to the foot of the window. I mean, window.
But so I got to the bit. Matt, you're in that. There's you're in a corridor, and there's an eye forms in front of you.
Yes, yeah. That's a great.
So that's where it crashed. So I do think I'm just gonna have to shelve this until PC upgrade time, or maybe I just need to put more fans in it. I don't know. Maybe I'll try that. But clearly brilliant, but. I really do want to push through the scary bits because I want to do an actual combine fight. Yeah. And obviously it's mad having most of the kit to be able to play this game that unfortunately most people aren't going to have access to. But it's just for whatever reason PC's just not quite handling it. However, in other VR news, I've not played a huge amount of it. I've played about 40 minutes of Paper Beast. On PSVR, which has just come out. So this is Eric Shahi's one, right?
It is, yeah.
It's fucking.
This got recommended on Eurogamer.
Got Essential.
I didn't know.
Essential. Yeah.
I didn't know this was on PSVR. I thought this was other stuff.
Yeah, no, I think it's just PSVR, isn't it? Because I know they've made a fuss about it on the PlayStation Directs, whatever they call them. So, I hate describing things as weird, right? Because that's not a description. That's that's me saying that I can't find the words to describe it. But that is basically the case. I'd seen videos of it and wasn't too excited. In the clips we've seen, it's you're in this desert and there's animals made of paper and you're leading them around and made of paper. That's made of paper. Made of paper.
Come back here, you punk.
But I don't even know where to start, because in a lot of ways, that is kind of just it. You're moving through these environments. It's typical VR stuff. You have one controller. You can sort of teleport about and rotate yourself. And then you've got your right hand controller. You can sort of grab stuff and sort of pull it around the world. But it's just you're going through this series of environments and weird little set pieces and puzzles, and sometimes just fun little interactions with these creatures. And in and of itself, that isn't that fascinating, but it's just how well it's all presented, the sound design and the way these little creatures are animated. Like it's a really clever, uncanny valley thing that like these little creatures you're looking at are made up of all these torn up bits of paper and stuff, but they move and they sound so fucking real that they're more realistic than any like real animal you've seen in a game before. And it's really obviously not just like sort of pre-canned animations, because you can sort of drag them around and their sort of legs like adjust accordingly and stuff. And there's different types of animals. There's like weird little sort of scuttling insects, and ones that sort of they're like really sort of woolly creatures that kind of shuffle around, and ones that are just kind of like dogs that are just sort of running all over the place and stuff. And it's just it's a lot like when we first talked about like Area X and stuff, and this sense that your brain is how well your brain is fooled into thinking that what you're looking at is real, even though, especially in the case of something like Area X, you're like, this can't be real. I'm seeing just all these fucking lights everywhere, and it's like it's absolutely insane. But more of my brain is convinced that this is a real thing than you.
Well, yeah, it's the scale, isn't it? Sense of scale more than anything else.
And it's that. It's like, oh fuck yeah, these are all little creatures made of paper running around, and they breathe and they shuffle, and you can hear the rustling of the paper as they move around, and it's so hard to describe how well it's done. It's a bit like, I mean, certainly now, like I've been spending a lot of time with the Oculus Quest. Putting the PSVR on now is starting to feel quite dated. And like, there are they're out,
that little screw thing at the back of the head.
Plus, it just doesn't actually fit against the front of your face. Have you noticed?
No, it does. It sort of rests off the top of your forehead, doesn't it?
But and there's bits where like there's quite early on there's a bit where you walk outside of a cave and you're like, oh man, this is amazing, and you look up at the sky and it's a skybox. It's not. There's like clouds and stuff in the sky. And it should look incredible, but they've obviously had to just go like, nah, just make it a skybox. It's just like an image, which in most games you get away with. But in VR, you can tell, like you're looking up at it and you're like, that is a flat, plain image of some clouds and some sky. So that's sort of disappointing, but that's not, don't worry about it. It's fine. Like everything else is so beautifully put together. And it's just so weirdly sort of disarming and confusing. You're just constantly just being like, what the fuck is going on, but in the best way possible. I can't wait to play more of it. I'm absolutely fascinated by it. So yeah, I'll probably hopefully I don't think it's too long. Usually obviously VR games tend not to be, so hopefully I'll try and get that finished for next week and deliver a final verdict. But yeah, I'm well impressed.
I mean, what type of game is it? What are you actually doing though?
Well, this is it, right? Not a lot. It's I know it's it's more of an experience than a game. I know like people say that about VR stuff too much. But like there are sections where you are just kind of walking through, and like it seems that like in every section of the game there will be, from what I've played so far, there is like a creature that's trying to sort of show you the way forward. And initially that's just, you find these dogs running around and you realise there's these bits of paper on the floor. You can sort of pick it up and feed it to the dogs. And I don't think it actually achieves anything. It's just fun to do. And then as you walk through, like events will happen. Sometimes it's just a case of walking on, but sometimes there's a little puzzle you have to do. So, for example, you find this one creature. It's like this worm that's kind of sticking out the ground, right? And you grab it and you yank it out the ground, and you realise that it's kind of like Nobby Boy in that it's always eating out of the front and shitting out of the back, right? And you realise that you can you can pick it up and move it around, and if its face is on this
just like most animals,
exactly, and it's and you sort of drop it on the ground, and then you realise it's actually like the front of it is eating the ground, and then it's shitting out the ground behind it, so that actually it's affecting the terrain in this cave. And you're sort of like, oh, that's like a fun, weird little physics experiment. Okay, what's next? And you move through into the next room, and you realise that your path is being blocked by this river. So then you're like, right, hang on a minute, grab the worm guy, make him eat the ground from like over there, and then shit it out into the path of the river, and then block the flow of the water, and then you can progress through. So there's weird little puzzles like that. And they're always
sounds like future unfolding.
I'm
not joking. That's not a joke. It does.
It's all about like all the puzzles are like, right, what do these animals do? How do they live? What do they, like, oh, these animals need like, oh, you see, there's these plants that need the light from this floating jellyfish, and then these little ants eat the fruit, and then they do that, and it's all about figuring out these little behaviors and ecosystems that these little animals get up to, and using that to sort of progress, basically. I absolutely love it so far. Really keen to crack on with it. There's a weird sort of like, oh, it's you start off, you're like using a computer in the future, and you're running this like music software, and then it crashes, and that's how you enter the Paper Beast world. I don't know how that's going to unfold. It's just like quite a fun little sort of 5-10 minute bit at the start before it all before you get into the game properly.
Unfold, yeah, great,
nice. But really impressed so far. I really wasn't expecting a huge amount from this, but it's really, really interesting experience. Only one more game to talk about. I've been playing Deep Sky Derelicts on the Switch.
I've never heard of this. What is this?
So it's called Deep Sky Derelicts, and it's like Definitive Edition or something. So I assume this is another one that's been out on PC for 5 years. And just got a Switch port. It's kind of in the mould of I've talked about like Slay the Spire before, and similar games where it's like kind of like a roguelike, where you've got you're sort of moving through areas on a map or whatever, and you're having encounters with enemies, and you've got a deck of cards. It's essentially like the combat is like card based, But what this does slightly differently is that this time you've got a crew, right? So it's like it's futuristic science fiction setting where you're a mercenary. You've been given this contract to like basically there's this fucking huge area of space that's just filled with absolutely fucked ships. And one of them, they don't know exactly where it is, but one of them is this mothership that's got like loads of amazing tech on it and stuff, right? And this rich guy's like, right, I want you to find that ship. And the way you do that is by going through all these other fucked ships that are just lying around in space, seeing what's in them, and then each one will have like a bit of information that might get you a bit closer to the mothership. So I thought this was going to be like a roguelike thing where it's like, you got like 3 or 4 ships in and then you died and then back to the start, whatever. But it's actually a lot. It's not like that at all. Like each ship you go to, you get this, like the exploration is quite sort of bare bones. It's a bit like sort of a tabletop, or sort of an early tabletop role-playing thing, or sort of board game setup where you're looking at like a grid, and it's like, right, you're just sort of moving this icon around that represents your like little team, and you sort of, different icons on the board will represent like items or enemies or whatever. So you're running around finding items, getting into fights with people, but the fights are really cool because, I mean, James, you'd hate it because it's turn-based and it's cards. But so you're having fights with like aliens, robots, whatever. But like the makeup of your crew affects like what sort of cards you have access to and what sort of abilities you have. So like my team is like, I've got one who's a leader, so she's really good at like, buffing like my own units. I've got one who's just like a straight up combat guy, and then I've got a medic who's really good at healing and like stunning enemies and stuff. But like I haven't got a technician who's really good at disabling robots, for example. And there's like all different classes you can pick from. You set up your little team at the start, and I think you can swap people in and out as you go. And I've not had to do that just yet. and it's basically just this constant process of like exploring a bit of a ship, and then you start running out of energy, so you're like, right, fuck, let's get back to the dock again, and hopefully don't get killed on the way. And then you go back to like this base where you like refuel and heal yourselves, and maybe buy some gear, sell some stuff you found, back out to the ship again, explore a bit further, and then in each ship, there'll be like, you might find there's like a little settlement somewhere, it's somewhere deep in the ship, and then they might have like jobs for you to take on and stuff. And then eventually you'll fully clear that ship, find the boss, beat it, brilliant. You got a bit of information, you'll get close to the mothership, and then you go on to the next ship, and then you just keep doing that over and over, and it's really enjoyable. The visuals are really nice. It's really nice. Sort of comic book style. It's very, to be honest, I mean, the concept is a lot like, fuck me, I've forgotten what it's called. The going through ships in space, and it had a swear word in the title. Fuck me.
Void Bastard?
That's the one, Void Bastards. I can't want to say it.
So when you say comic book style, do you mean it's cel-shaded or...
So this is actually 2D.
Right, okay, yeah.
But it does this really nice thing when whenever you do like an action in combat, it's, cynically, you could suggest that this is so they didn't really have to animate anything, but it's so every action is represented. It'll be like a little box out frame of like a comic book with the action taking place and the enemy getting hit or whatever. And obviously that's just, every character's got like an attack pose and every on a being hit pose and whatever. But it's just well done enough that it's really convincing. At no point are you just thinking like, oh, well, that's just a load of like pre-made poses. They look like every shot looks like a really nice little frame from a comic book. It's just really nicely done. So yeah, I'm properly enjoying it. The only thing I would say is the Switch screen is a bit much. When you each turn you're sort of looking through all the cards you've got for each character, and like you can press a button to like make the cards bigger, but in order to be big enough to actually be legible, they're taking up like 1/8 of the fucking screen, just to make the text big enough so you can actually read it. I assume this was much less of an issue on PC, obviously, so it does suffer for that a bit on the Switch, but like not enough to be upsetting, really. It's just,
I wonder if how does that work with switching to TV mode? Because I know, like, is it just like a 1-for-1? Because I know that in Rocket League, they've made a lot of the text a lot bigger, so you can view it on the on handheld mode. But then that just scales in TV mode. So when you play it in TV mode, it's like fucking hell, that's way too big. Does not need to be that big, but I wonder if that you're able to scale text like that, because that'd be interesting for Disco Elysium as well.
Yeah.
If the text is just massive on the screen, because as you know with Disco, maybe they could even cut the. Maybe that's how they do it, because everything's on the right hand side in that sort of text box. What if the whole screen is just that text box? Because you don't need to see the environment.
Oh, I don't know.
At the same time,
couple of bits you definitely do.
Oh, when it plays out the animations.
Yeah,
and stuff.
there's a few bits, so that'd be really key. But yeah, I know what you mean. For a lot of it, not so much.
I'd be interested to see how they flip between the two with that.
Yeah. So yeah, Deep Sky Derelicts, really interesting. Like I say, sort of pays homage to a lot of board games or sort of old school RPGs, but it's just this really nice loop of just digging into the ships a bit and then being like, right, cool, got some stuff, head back, sell it, upgrade stuff. You sort of constantly upgrading your characters, putting implements in them, getting new equipment, and then all of that in turn like affects like what cards you have as part of your deck when you go back out. And it's just it's great, really good.
Cool. Well, I've only got a couple of quick ones before we get to your questions. The night before Master Chief used my catchphrase, sorry, Sean, I finished my Halo run. We finished Halo 5, and my word, that is a shit Halo. I'm not sure if it's the worst. I don't know if it's lower than 2. I don't know if it's lower than... It's probably
it's
lower than
It's
ODST.
definitely the worst for me. It doesn't feel like a proper Halo game.
No,
go back and play them again.
My abiding memory of that game was having to do that sort of boss fight over and over again with that guy that keeps on sort of exploding and then coming back to life again.
Yeah. And then when it chucks 4 of those guys at you, Jesus Christ. Look, it is clearly a game made by people that thought they knew what Halo was good for, right? And here's my summary. Halo, the reason why that captured so many imaginations when that originally come out is that those elites were such a special enemy to fight against because they felt like alien versions of yourself. You realise, like, first of all, they just look like normal enemies and you're shooting away at them and just thinking, come on, I can take them out or whatever. Then you notice that, actually, there seems to be a shield around them, like my shield. So if I pop their shield, they can regenerate that shield. So the idea is that pop their shield, then take their health out. Halo 2, for some reason, moved away from elites and went for brutes instead. And it was like, these aren't anywhere near as fun to fight. And there are moments in this game where you're fighting the Covenant and you have that feeling, but they're too few and far between. And then the further you get into the game, the more difficult it becomes to fight. We were playing on Heroic, right? I shot a grunt 3 times with a sniper rifle and it still wasn't dead. That's not how Halo should be. No. That's not how Halo should be. I understand that, again, it's like that difficulty setting with Doom. It's not about damage done. It's about how they attack that should be the difference in difficulty. And that's what it felt like Halo 1 did. I'm sure that they had more health, but it was more about the challenge of how they were attacking you. They were way more aggressive in Heroic. In this, it was just like, grenades are pointless. And I mean, this has been a problem with Halo since, I would say, 2, actually. Grenades are pointless because it's like they've got this weird instinct where they automatically jump out of the way the moment a grenade lands anywhere near them. It's pointless. The sniper rifle stuff, sometimes you'll put a crosshair over and it's like they magically know the crosshair is on them and they jump out of the way. It focused on the wrong things and it got Halo completely wrong. And that's why it felt like such a mess to me. And there wasn't enough interesting, unique ideas. Like those levels, there's missions where you just walk around, talk to people. And it's like, that's not what Halo's about, man. It's just not, it didn't feel like Halo. It was a complete mess from start to finish. One thing I will say about this run, though, is how much Cortana can be put on a slideshow to show you how the industry has changed over the years. I mean, show her, what is it, in Halo 4? and then show her in Halo 5. And you just think, wow, okay, the industry has kind of moved in very different directions as that game series has gone along.
So hang on, so she's in 5? So because the Chief isn't in 5, is he?
No, she isn't. No, she's in 5. Okay. Chief's in 5.
Oh, is he? Right, okay, sorry. I thought 5 was just a load of other plebs.
No, it's you and other plebs.
Okay.
5, I think the story... I mean, we were skipping the cutscenes because I've never cared about the story in Halo games. But from what I could gather, 5 was about Cortana trying to carry out a mission that she was convinced was correct to free AIs.
Right.
Is that right, James?
Yeah, something like that.
She was trying to free the consciousness of AIs or something. Okay. And Master Chief was against that because it meant that it would give power to something. I don't know. So there was a constant battle where Master Chief and Cortana disagreed on something, basically, and you had to stop Cortana doing her mission. Right. That seemed like it. There was also another crew that you flick between, and then they meet up at the end. Didn't really follow any of that shit. All I know is that it didn't feel like Halo. There needs to be some radical changes for the next game. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they're aware of that. I've got high hopes for the next one. I think it could be a real return to form when they realise that they might have fucked Halo completely with Halo 5 because it didn't do very well. Like in terms of media reaction, word on the street, it's largely seen as a very shit game. I think it was maybe harshly criticised, but they just focused on the wrong thing. And that whole forcing you to go in with a team of 4 thing is absolutely unforgivable. It's awful that way. So it's low down on the list. I don't think it's as bad as 2. 2 is a fucking disaster, other than the first couple of levels.
Isn't it weird how we just sort of... terrible. Like, we can acknowledge that now. But it was... I feel like at the time we were sort of in denial. And then we just... I don't know.
Well, no, you have to remember as well that Halo 2's multiplayer was fantastic. There's no getting around that. Halo 2's multiplayer was fantastic. We're literally just talking about the campaigns here. So, that was a good game in terms of multiplayer, and I am literally just looking at the campaigns back to back. I'll also say that Halo ODST, very, very overrated in people's memory. Very overrated. It's a collection of cutting room floor levels stuck together with not a very interesting overworld, and a slightly weird story. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Halo, the next Halo. I'm pretty confident they'll have learned a few lessons from this. All the stuff that's in this felt like a product of the time, rather than something that they were looking to steer the series towards. And I think we've moved away from that stuff now. So, the other game, I was so excited for Final Fantasy VII that in my head I was like, NieR Automata, that's probably about the same, isn't it? So I started that. Wow, I'm really, really impressed with it so far. I visually, I love it. I love the atmosphere of the thing. I love the music. I love the combat. I was really surprised when I first started it. At one point, because it's called, the version that's on Game Pass is like NieR Automata something edition.
Become as gods,
right?
isn't it? I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started playing it, and all of a sudden I'm playing this like what they call it?
Shoot 'em up.
Like, no, they call it like it's got like a bullet hell shooter, right? And I was like, what? Is this like a bullet? Is this like a spin-off or something? What's going on here? And then like flicking between the twin stick shooter, and then you finally get on the ground and you're fighting these like massive machine things. I really loved that intro. I thought it was great, all except for one thing. So when you first start playing, it goes, look, listen, there's no autosave in this game. Just play the game. Like, it's really arrogant with it. It says like, there's no autosave. Just play the game. And I was like, fuck you, for a start. Secondly, if you're going to introduce that, don't make the intro about 45 minutes to an hour long before you're able to save for the first time. Jesus, that's really bad, that. Like, really awful. I mean, you mentioned it in the WhatsApp group. Or was it when it was last night, wasn't it?
Before we started streaming, yeah. So I know people who like barely played this game because they kept dying on the intro bit. And obviously, and that's just you straight back to the start of the game.
That's ridiculous. Totally.
I mean, it is, but it's not hard, that first bit.
Well, I've knocked it. I mean, I went into it on easy mode because I thought, I know that this is a game that is roughly about 10 hours long, but has been made to be played over and over again. Is that right?
No. Yes and no. It's hard to explain without spoiling it. It sort of presents it as, so you'll finish the game after like not a huge amount of time, and then it goes back to the start, but things are different, and then when you finish that, you follow the events up to the same point again, and then things are completely different again, and it gets really interesting. It was sort of poorly communicated because the previous game, NieR, which is getting a remaster, by the way, you literally had to replay the game like 4 times, but like things changed a bit, but you were just replaying the game. Whereas this sort of plays on that. So the second chapter, if you will, is a retelling of events from the first chapter, but with a different perspective.
I sort of got that. It wasn't just a replay of the game. It's more that the game completely changes when you start again from the start, or not completely changes, but there are it progressively unwinds the more you do repeat your plays, isn't it? Right. Okay. So I was thinking, I want to see some of that stuff. So if I knock it down to easy, that might get me through to the story a little bit quicker. I assume that doesn't change those events, does it?
Not as far as I'm aware, no. And I think and it's, because it was developed by Platinum, but you're not cheating yourself by playing it on easy, really. It's not their, in terms of the combat and stuff, it's not their best. As you've probably seen, the combos are pretty rudimentary. You have 2 weapons, and each one has a light and heavy attack, and then you have the your little robot that shoots as well. Which is cool, but it's it's not like you're not losing out on a really intricate combat system like you would in other Platinum games. So yeah, nothing wrong with playing on easy, really.
No. So I was blown away by the setting, the visuals, some of the visuals. I mean, there's a lot of fog in there, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah, there's some bad textures and stuff, but I do like the look of it overall.
I love that. Yeah. The character design's fantastic. The camera work as well. I mean, although I've had the odd moment where the camera suddenly changes and I'm running in the wrong direction, like while not changing the way I'm running on the stick, that's a bit frustrating. But I think it's worth it for the sort of cinematography, I'm going to say. The various different shots that it uses is very clever. The only problem is I'm probably not going to play it now until
you've done Final Fantasy.
I'm sort of done with Final Fantasies, but I will get back to it because it impressed me. Some of the writing is a little bit hacky.
It is a bit.
I'm not going to lie.
The dialogue and stuff is not amazing. It's the concept and the overall story that are absolutely fascinating once you get into it. I won't do it on the show because it'd be all fucking night, but the story that leads up to NieR Automata is fascinating in of itself, and then the stuff that Automata does with it is just fucking bizarre. So, yeah. I
mean, "Don't call me mom" was a line that I cringed at. The other one was what was it? When she says, "Oh, androids aren't supposed to have emotions." I was kind of like, "Oh, come on!" You know what I mean? Just what? Fuck off.
Get over it. Yeah.
But then the stuff that happens after, like how you defeat the first main boss, and then what happens directly after that, has instantly got me excited about what direction things are going to go in. So that all seems very, very cool.
You can imagine.
Matt,
so just talking about the writing and stuff. So you can imagine when I went to the NieR concert, and you've got the Royal Philharmonic all sat on the stage, and there were bits of dialogue between the songs, and it's like showing it on the screen and stuff, and you are just thinking like, God, what? Like all these people, these professional musicians, proper grown-ups. What the fuck do they think about all this? Like...
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Matt, I think you should try it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, I was really interested when this game was out and everyone's talking about it, and the things it does sound really fascinating. But yeah,
you chuck your list in the bin now, haven't you? That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Speaking about like NieR, so what's this thing that got announced in a week, Sean? Was it a mobile game?
So there was two things. Yeah, so there is a mobile game, which I don't know. See how that turns out, I guess. But yeah, so they're doing a remaster of NieR, which came before NieR Automata, and I sort of hope it's a bit condensed because NieR again, it has loads of really interesting ideas, but the whole just replay it 4 times thing is a bit of a piss take, and there's a lot of bloat in it that you could take out. That's getting like a full remaster apparently. So or remake or remaster. I don't think we know exactly.
What's the mobile game? Is it like a new game?
So the mobile one's new. I don't think we know. I think there's like 2 bits of concept art, and I think that's about all we know about it. But interesting.
Yeah.
I just think the themes map might get you interested.
No, cool. No, it's on Game Pass. I'll check it out.
Yeah, man.
For sure. Yeah, just whack it on easy. I mean, as I say, it's pretty easy. But the problem I had with the saving is that I was waiting for a mate to finish a game. So I thought, okay, like before I play with them. This was just before the Halo stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'll just start this game just to boot something up while I'm waiting. And then it was like, okay, let me just finish this bit. I'm surely going to be able to save soon.
Nope.
No, okay, all right, okay. Now I'm playing a completely different genre of game, but I'm still waiting for that save point. No, and then I had to stop because it was getting awkward, and then do that whole bit again. But I breezed through it way quicker in the second time, so it was fine. It was fine, that one. Right, okay, that's it for what we've been playing. Should we do some questions and get out of here?
Emails. If you want to email us, podcast@thecomputergameshow.com. Kurt Lewin says, "Hi chaps, thanks for all the entertainment in these extraordinary times and for the times before that too. Now that we've had remakes in the form of games like Link's Awakening, Black Mesa, Resident Evil 2 and 3 and Final Fantasy 7, which are remakes that are built from the ground up and given more than just a new lick of paint, what do you think will be the next game to receive such a treatment? And do you think there'll be any games from this generation or even last gen which will have a ground up remake in, say, a decade or 2 decades' time?"
Well, we all know it's Silent Hill, right?
God, yeah. Silent Hill 2
I can't
especially.
believe
We all know that. I mean, the rumours have been going about it's probably going to be Silent Hill, isn't it?
Silent Hill 1 or 2?
It's Konami, though, isn't it? They don't make games
That's
anymore.
true, yeah. I think 2's the most celebrated, right? I think it would have to be 2. Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, 2 was great.
I think,
yeah, but would they go straight into 2, though? Or would they just concentrate on doing a really good retelling of 1, so then they can
do the lot,
make money off that?
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Is, though, I can't see how this is going to happen, though, seeing as I said, Konami don't make games anymore. And they own that.
Were Konami going to bring out Silent Hills?
They were, yeah.
They were, yeah. And that was the whole reason for the whole split off of
the massive
Kojima,
split
wasn't
off
it?
with Kojima, yeah. You never know. You just never know.
I mean, there was all those crazy rumours that Sony were going to buy their catalogue. They were going to buy Metal Gear and Silent Hill off them.
Revolution.
But then that didn't happen, obviously.
Well, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another really old game with a great story that could really do with a massive redesign like that. Golden A. Yeah, no, it's a tricky one. I mean, again, Time Splitters there's rumours about that flying about, but what can you do with that? It's an arcade first-person shooter.
Also, that felt like so much of its time. I think if you remade it would lose what made it so weird and the charm. And
I still think that there's room for an arcade shooter in that vein. Definitely.
Yeah, like No One Lives Forever, another one of them. That was great.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty good. What weird wasn't to bring up though. I haven't thought about that game for fucking years.
Well, I mean, we talked about a lot, but things like Prince of Persia or Legacy of Kain. I'm not even sure if they were even massive back then. I'm just look back on them fondly. I mean, Prince of Persia was obviously a franchise, but Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, was that even a big thing?
It's funny, isn't it? Because I was a big fan of Legacy of Kain stuff, but they wouldn't have stopped making them if they were making loads of money. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a shame because if they constantly didn't try and flog you this game, then an Ocarina of Time with the assets of Breath of the Wild, you know what I mean? That could be special because the story was brilliant in Ocarina of Time, wasn't it?
It was.
Okay.
What about?
I haven't played much of it, so I can't comment. I assumed.
Oh yeah,
James,
that's right.
have you not
Yeah.
played it?
Play what? Sorry.
Someone's playing Animal Crossing.
Unbelievable.
Oh, got him.
No. Were you talking about Ocarina of Time still? Because obviously I played that.
Yeah, we were. Dave asked a question about it and no one spoke.
Yeah.
I said the story was brilliant, wasn't it, in Ocarina of Time? It's probably one of the best stories.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm glad we backtracked for that.
Yeah, as well. How about sort of I know obviously Kojima's left Konami, but remaking the first Metal Gear Solid, but in the same style as MGS5 or
mate,
but not like Dennis Dyack did.
God, yeah, go further back than that. Remake the first Metal Gear. Do
Metal Gear,
do the lot, mate.
Do that, yeah. But it does feel. I mean, we've had, the Half-Life
Metal
remake
Gear is a great shout, though, isn't it?
Half-Life remake wasn't official,
shout.
But we've had that. We've got the Final Fantasy. We've got the Resident Evils. I mean, I'm sure we're not running out, but it feels like a lot of the biggies have been taken care of.
Yeah.
Well, it needs to be a game that hasn't been just pumped into the atmosphere constantly since it come out, and there's not many of those.
Yeah, I was going to say, because all the good ones have. So.
I think
doesn't leave an awful lot.
Well, you say that, though.
Go on,
yeah, Resident Evil. And as you said, what was the one that you just said? What was the one you just said? My brain's not working, Matt. What was the one you just said? Sorry? Metal Gear. Metal Gear is a great shout.
I mean, Metal Gear Solid or the first Metal Gear,
Yeah.
I
think, Metal Gear, I'm thinking specifically Metal Gear Solid because that would get a massive buzz if they just retold that story, but with the graphics of today.
Or, again, it's been done. I mean, they did it on GameCube, didn't they? And it wasn't very good.
Did they?
But that was
the
Twin Snakes did it. Yeah,
I had no idea.
But when I think about remake, okay, do they do it so it like the Resi 2 one where it's mostly the same, slight changes, or do they redo it so it's all full 3D? That's what we're saying, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what the question is sort of hinted towards. Final Fantasy seems to be doing that, and games that touch on the original but don't follow them religiously, I think is the way to go, isn't it?
Yeah. I wonder if some of the comments I was making about Paper Beast. I wonder if, 10, 20 years, if VR stuff has moved on and become way more accessible, I wonder if we'll be revisiting a lot of the early VR stuff, because there's loads of interesting stuff, but so few people have had access to it, relatively speaking, that I wonder if there'll be a resurgence. Like, we'll start revisiting like early VR games because only about 10 people got to play them at the time.
Oh God! Don't get me wrong. These VR games that have come out, like we'll see an Astrobot version for the new PSVR, with improved graphics and stuff. Yeah, that's an easy way to make a lot of money. If VR ever takes off in a big way, then there's a whole library of stuff that can just be tweaked and made smarter. Yeah. I mean, we found that with the Quest anyway, didn't we? Because a hell of a lot of games that have come to the Quest, I was like, there's a new game for the Quest. No, it's been in VR for the past 2 years. It's just been ported over. Like that virtual reality. I was like, fucking hell, this might be a contender for Game of the Year. So I looked it up on Wikipedia and it was like 2 years old.
The obvious one, Dino Crisis.
Well, that's been rumoured, hasn't it, for a long time?
Torah.
It's always rumoured, isn't it?
I never played that back in the day, but that's one I was thinking, redo that. But was that game even that massive? Obviously, it was like a dinosaur version of Resident Evil, but did it ever bang like Resi did? Or
I think it was, people liked it, but I don't think it was definitely never reached like Resident Evil like levels of excitement. It was like a B tier, wasn't it? Sort of that sort of style of game.
Exhumed.
Get
that out.
I'm thinking
classic.
Yeah, I mean that was good.
It wasn't. It was shit.
Right.
Played that on the Saturn.
I'm trying to think of what that N64 multiplayer game was, where you're basically in ships, and it's an incredible 4-player. What was it called?
Star Fox. I'm taking the piss.
No, not. It's basically in underground caverns. And it had like incredible multiplayer on N64.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It's going to kill me. Okay, I'll find out.
This isn't the one you're talking about, but can we have a remake of Blast Corps, please?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was such a fucking interesting idea for a game that, I never actually played it. I gather it was actually well hard.
I don't think it counts for this question, does it? Because I think it's on Rare Replay. It's on Game Pass.
Okay, no, I'm thinking about Forsaken.
Oh, yeah.
We played so much. It was like almost as good as Gold Knight, and with our mates we were playing. It was stunning. Cool. That, please. Yeah. But online and 100 players.
All right, but that's I assume that it's more about taking the story. I think the story element is a massive part of it. So, not sure it counts. Next question.
Comes in my book.
Mike Pettit.
Next question.
Mike Pettit says, "Hey guys, first up, hope everyone's well and coping with the whole isolation side of things as best as can be expected. These are obviously mad, unprecedented times, and having chatted with various non-games playing friends, I feel like our hobby puts us at a genuine advantage in terms of isolating ourselves from the outside world for a bit. With this in mind, having spent a bit of time on Rollmuck and even seeing Mr. Murray tweet about it, it's sort of baffling to me that people are still ordering physical games from websites and getting them through the post. Obviously, I wouldn't want Shop2 or Simply Games to go under because of COVID-19, but is there an ethical question when it comes to putting strain on postal services for non-essential items that can be bought digitally? I know that anyone who currently can't work from home is under fair amount of pressure. Should we really be adding to that by ordering stuff we don't need just because it's a bit cheaper online or arrives sooner or holds trade-in value? I'm not trying to single Matt out, although actually that is sort of what I'm doing, apologies, but would be interesting in hearing your guys' thoughts.
It's not just games, it's something that I've been questioning as well, because like Joe's been getting Lego sets and stuff from Amazon for Harry to keep him busy, and I'm kind of like, should that be happening?
Because I've been obviously I'm trying not to take the piss. Like I've been making sure there are like relatively essential things in every order. But yeah, like ordering stuff from Amazon, or what have you. But sort of on the understanding that if they turned around and said, no, you're taking the piss, we're not delivering it, I'd be like, yeah, of course, fair enough. Do you know what I mean?
You're basically taking the piss until you're told no.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what
but obviously, that's me relying on Amazon to do something ethical. So
it's like you at a wedding buffet.
Yeah.
I'm going to take 4 bits
just
of
tell
chicken.
Me to stop when I'll just take this entire plate of sausage
like
rolls.
In a meeting when they put biscuits out. Like clearly you're only supposed to have one, but No one else is having them yet. So if I get 3 in now,
Are you eating that?
So Sean, are you like ordering like sort of like here's all my toilet roll and some video games, please?
No, it's not been that bad.
Are you sneaking in?
It's sort of like some sort of home improvement stuff, like some toiletries and that, I guess. But yeah, really, I'm taking the piss.
I do need to do loads of order. I need to like get us loads of stuff for the garden because we're running out of things to do. But I feel bad.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like a lot of. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of couriers and like regular postie and stuff. They're just knocking on the door, leaving the stuff at the door, and then heading off, which is absolutely fine by me. Because at the end of the day, like they know you're in. It's not like they're
that's what it's supposed to do. I was absolutely shocked when I ordered a curry last night, and we were expecting the knock on the door and there'd just to be a bag of curry on my doorstep, but it wasn't. The guy was standing there,
weird.
And I was like, "Okay, thanks."
I mean,
and he was like, "Okay, bye."
It's weird.
I was like, "Get away!"
Because obviously my wife works with the public anyway, so part of me is like, does it matter? I mean, it does. Obviously, it does. But obviously, like in terms of no, but I mean, like obviously, if someone's delivering stuff to your house, the risk is them passing it to you, right? Like if they leave like an item on your doorstep and then you pick it up and it's got molecules on it, then the risk is you getting it. There's no way someone delivering something to my house would catch something from me, right? I think. Is that naive?
I think that's probably fair
I'm not a
to
scientist, but.
Still got to knock on your doorbell, press your doorbell.
That's true, it's pressing the doorbell maybe.
I mean, obviously, what do you think, Dr.
Obviously,
James?
the point is people being out and about is a risk no matter what. Like,
yes, of course it is.
But yeah, so part of me is like, I'm probably getting it if I've not already had it, which I guess gives me a bit of a different perspective. But I don't know.
Yeah, we all are at some point, aren't we? What lovely.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay. Yep. Next. It's not your fault. it's the situation we're in. It's not because of you. God. Don't blame yourself, Sean.
Sean says you don't blame yourself.
Is that... Sorry, I thought someone else was going to speak.
No, just crack on.
Okay, no, that's it. That's it for the emails.
You waiting for me to make a fool of myself, were you there,
No, I wasn't
Sean?
making it... No, I thought you were going to weigh in because you haven't said anything yet, really.
James's paranoia just like shot up then.
I wasn't playing Animal Crossing.
Every time there's like a break in any conversation, James is like, they're just waiting for me to fuck up now. They're just going to
I'm not saying a fucking word about this.
Folding his arms. No, that's it for the emails.
All right. Matt, tweets.
Yes, tweets. It's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter. Mark has tweeted in, which game... played this year, released any time, are you most likely to stand on your doorstep and applaud?
Good question. Which game have I played this year that I'm...
played this year but released any time.
Oh, shit.
I can't think of anything that's made me feel that
excited.
I
mean, I guess Disco Elysium?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
It's probably the best game I played this year. But, yeah, even then, it was all right.
David, no.
Probably Paper Beast for me so far.
Oh no, sorry. What am I thinking? It is definitely Rocket League. Definitely, I played it this year, wasn't it? Yeah, definitely. Although not at the moment because that game is fucked.
Oh, really?
The servers are not cooping with the stream. Also, the Delivery Man game that we played last night. Fuck, that deserves a round of applause. Even though it's a broken mess.
It really does.
It was fun. I don't think I've laughed at a game that hard for a long time. That was some game session last night. It was good.
I mean, I absolutely loved the Black Mesa. That's been, and I mean, Alyx. I mean, there's been some bangers this year, and barely anything has come out.
Black Mesa or Atlanta? Did Black Mesa come out this year?
Yeah.
Right, so you had to choose one to make the GOTY list.
Oh, it'll be Alyx, of course, yeah. But Mesa is really fantastic. It's a brilliant remake.
Have you seen the mod that's been going around on Twitter this week for the original Half-Life?
No. There's
a video of a guy playing what looks like... It's called Playing Half-Life where the NPCs are self-aware.
I've heard about this. I've not seen it yet.
And the description in the video tries to indicate that the NPCs are working on voice recognition. They're clearly not. What it looks like, it's a VR version of the original Half-Life, where the NPCs are played by other people that are also in VR playing Half-Life. And the results are absolutely hilarious. And in this particular video that I watched, the guy that was playing a Barney-style character, which is one of the security guards, was just following Gordon around, demanding to see his passport to let him into the facility, to the point where they're in the reactor core doing that bit. And, Gordon's going, "What are you doing in here? You've got no hazmat suit on." I'm just going to have to see your passport. So, all this, and it spirals out of control where they're playing the scientists and all sorts of characters in the game, and it was fucking hilarious.
That sounds brilliant. I need to look out for that. Sounds great.
I'll give you a link. It's very good.
Yeah. Send me a link.
James, I'll send you a link.
Please send me a link.
Okay.
I'll link you up.
Send me the
James, you got an answer to this question, mate?
No, you just said you said you're going to send me the link, so I said yeah.
Have you got an answer for the question?
Have you got an answer to the question?
No.
Okay.
Next question.
No,
wait a minute. I've already answered this question.
You ever have a feeling when someone just doesn't want to be here anymore? They've done.
No, this is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit because I already answered this question right at the start, and you all just ignored me anyway.
What was your answer?
So fuck you.
Almost definitely on mute. Go on. What was your answer?
I was not on mute. But no, I just said I don't think there was anything this year that's been really amazing. And then you said Disco Elysium, and I said yes, probably. And that was it.
Oh yeah. I'm so sorry we missed that. Really.
You didn't respond to my non-answer.
Exactly.
Probably
I've
nothing.
answered which game? None of them. Okay, great. Right.
What else do you want me to say? Just make some bullshit up.
I want you to say, look, lads, my heart's not in it anymore. I suggest you just crack on without me. That's what I want you to say.
Okay, so I just got to lie and be enthusiastic about everything.
No, just have some opinion.
I did. My opinion is that there's nothing that's made me want to applaud this year.
Wow. And let's move on.
Okay, let's move on.
Tweet.
SMW and Not a Spaceship on Twitter. Will Sean be going back to No Man's Sky to try out this mech update that they announced today? I did it a bit at the end.
I don't know. Because
what's the mech upgrade?
They've added a big mech that you can stomp about in, but all it shows in the video is it just sort of walking forwards and then doing some mining. So. And I'm not being like, No Man's Sky is rubbish. There's nothing to do in it. I quite like No Man's Sky, and I do really appreciate the fact they're still adding stuff to it. I think it's really cool. It's just from that video, it wasn't entirely clear what the point is in the mech, other than mechs are cool, right. Which they are.
What if they told you, look, you could press a button, it lifts one arm into the air, then flies off, right, and blasts through planets, leaving massive holes in the planets that you fly through.
Obviously.
Would you get it then?
I would give that a go, yeah. God, can you imagine that in VR? Fuck me.
Each hole can be named and seen if you just happen to discover it.
And if you're walking around on the planet, you can jump down the hole and fall through and come out the other side.
Yeah, well, no, you just pop up where your head just appears just above the surface level and then you drop back down again. That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
That's how gravity works. Gotcha. I used to think that when I was a kid. When people used to go, when you're on the beach and then someone, one of the adults would go, oh, you should dig down and go to Australia.
Yeah.
I would think, but then would my legs come out first or my head? Because at some point I'm spin around. And then when it does come out, am I just going to fly back the other way again? And then just hope that I get to cling on to the sand again before I end up in Australia again?
It's a great question.
It's okay.
Yeah, but even knowing that I would melt in the middle, so it doesn't really. Would my bones just pop out the other end, all charred?
Pretty much. Well, you wouldn't even get to Australia, would you?
The meat. The meat sliding off the bone, absolutely absolutely perfect.
You get through the crust and then lava would spray out on your
skeleton.
face.
Yeah, like a slow cooker. It's this is incredible.
Like a smoking skeleton just pops up in the middle of this hole in Australia.
And all the Australians just these British beach goers. Oh my God, there's constant popping
and
up.
That wouldn't work because I wouldn't be able to dig the second half, would I? wouldn't be able to dig the second half.
ruins the joke.
Yeah, it'd be half a mil a Dave, and then it would be just digging.
$500,000 Dave, yeah. And his little spade, one of those wooden ones with the plastic that you get on the beach.
And and a Chad Valley football. Stephen Purgey.
Okay. Didn't get that reference. Go on.
What? You don't get Chad Valley footballs as a reference?
Nope.
Are you kidding me? You know, the floaters, you kick them and they'll stay in the air for about a year.
Oh, with the blue ones with the the hexagons
they had different colours. Yeah, those.
I didn't know the brand.
Chad Valley, that's like a known...
Okay, James, you're into football. Have you ever heard of Chad Valley football before?
Not in relation to football, but Chad Valley, yeah, it's all that cheap plastic.
Well, Chad Valley make footballs.
Rubbish,
that was like, if someone had like a cheap plastic football, it was a Chad Valley one, and no... Anyway,
they're owned by Sainsbury's. Did you know?
They own Chad Valley?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Sainsbury's got their shit down,
I was going to say the way Matt said that,
go.
it's like, oh, do you know, I didn't think Sainsbury's were that big a deal, but actually...
No, they've got one of the biggest brands of football. Stephen Purgey. Skate 3 is £3.74 on the Xbox store right now. Is it worth a punt?
Absolutely, yes. Holy shit. I was playing a bit of it again today, because thanks to you lot, I've like got my Xbox One set up again. So, yeah, I had a quick go on Skate 3 today. It's great.
Good console, isn't it? When you go to your tab where it says your game collection, and you go,
massive.
Fucking hell. Yeah. How and when did this happen? Yeah, it's good.
Right, MD Krabuffs, what would your perfect holiday look like?
We've done this before, haven't we?
Yeah, what was yours? The Lake District,
mate. Ambleside.
What was
El
Matt's
Clasico.
answer to that?
It's probably...
That sounds awful.
Well, it'd be like a New York holiday. I'll go back there probably.
Okay.
New York
sound
would be
really
good.
thrilled.
I said before, an all-inclusive, massive hotel with a massive pool, and just steak every night, omelettes every morning, and beer all out throughout
If it's
the
your
day.
perfect holiday, why would you want a massive hotel? Like, surely, like a hotel just for yourself. Like, a massive hotel implies other people.
That's true.
Or do you want a massive
any
empty hotel?
No, I don't mind other people. I like doing that thing where you sit down for dinner and then you see the same
Spy on
person
people.
2 nights running. You raise your eyebrows, and then eventually
That's your perfect holiday. Horrendous.
And then eventually you say something, you realise you have something in common, and that's quite fun.
That is completely alien to me. That whole.
But then they just come out with something really racist, and then you're stuck in a hotel with them for
we've got
ages.
two things in
try to
common.
get out of it.
Do you know that happened? That happened to
up,
us once.
Really?
It's because we stayed somewhere, and there was an incident a bit like that wasn't very good. Involving table tennis and Chen, and she was not impressed.
Okay.
Right,
yeah. Okay. Let's move. I'm going to quickly move on.
I mean, just quickly, I just want to know, just going to the next town over would be nice at the moment. To be honest, that'd be something.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Trip
perfect
down
holiday,
to-
being within 2 meters of someone else.
Yeah, it's true.
Am I right?
I've just got a feeling that when this does end, it's going to be just fucking a massive party.
It is going to be like England won the World Cup. Like, you know, like pubs and like everything is going to be insane.
Yeah. Although I am concerned about... I'm not going to talk about this on the show. It's not going to go down too well.
Okay.
That's where you're ending it there, is it?
Next question.
I mean, I can go there if you want, but just don't get it up with me.
Well, no, go there.
I haven't had a haircut in 6 weeks. It's getting ridiculous, and I'm really worried about everyone rushing out to get a haircut at once and me having to wait about 3 hours to get my haircut.
That is a very real
Joe
problem.
can do little trims at home.
It is a real problem, but it's not relevant in this group, is it? So I should just move on to next.
Surely you know someone that can do little trims at home.
That's reminding me of my baldness.
No, Matt. No, you can't. You can't just run a bic over it. Like when you need a proper barber.
Just get like, clippers and put like
It's not the same when you want an actual haircut, Matt. It's like we just fucking run the clippers all over and just whatever happens. You know
just grade 4 it all over. Everyone else is shaving in the isolation look. Do it. You might as well.
No. And I realise how grey I'm going as well the longer my hair gets. But anyway, right, I'm not complaining about that.
Ooh, grey hair.
Next tweet.
Andy Godwin, that big cop man on Twitter. Since playing The Division again, I had completely forgotten how to use the controller speaker for audio transmissions. It made me realise how underused this was in games. I can't even think about many games that use this. What games missed a trick with it and how?
I mean, is it underused? Does anyone really?
Well,
they did it in Death Stranding. It was really annoying.
I can't think of a game they've done it where it hasn't
bad.
been sort of annoying in Alien.
Yeah.
It's like...
I liked it. I liked when they did Tomb Raider. The reboot implementation of it was pretty good. It was just basically reloading sounds.
That sounds
I don't
really
know
annoying.
why that was.
I don't...
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I think it would have been
wasn't,
annoying if it was
Sean, it was
gunfire
cool.
as well. I don't know. There was just something about the. Yeah, I suppose it does sound annoying, but I remember it being all right for some reason. I'm not sure why.
I remember enjoying it
Maybe.
in No More Heroes because you'd get phone calls from the woman who was setting you up with the next fight or whatever, and she'd give a weird little speech. And it was cool because it was back in the day when obviously, you know, if you had a Wii, like people would come around and play on it. So you'd have no more heroes on.
sorry.
And like, and you know, so this like you'd get this phone call on your Wiimote, and you'd hold it up to your ear, and everyone's like, "What? What's she saying? What's she saying?" I'm like, "Shh, shh, she's talking." And that wasn't
that the case? I'm sure I've asked this before, but in Eternal Darkness, wasn't it that it never used the speaker, and then towards the end of the game, there was whispering coming out of the speaker? So like,
hang on,
you got so
Eternal
confident.
Darkness was on the GameCube.
There was no speaker.
Oh no, because that was.
Are you thinking of?
Yeah, no, you
There
absolutely.
was that Silent Hill one.
Didn't they re-release it for the Wii?
No, there was that Silent Hill
right, okay,
Shattered
okay, I'm
Memories
totally
did it
wrong
for
then.
phone calls and stuff, and then I think it also had eerie effects as well, possibly.
Yeah, there was a game that didn't use it for like hours of gameplay, and then it started just doing this little whispering out of the Wiimote or whatever, and that just sounded like it would fuck me up. Fuck me up.
Yep.
We're going to end with Shawnee Boy. Who on the team would you most and least like to spend lockdown
No, I
with?
don't want to answer this
Oh, I
one.
don't like this question.
Go on, just say me.
We've got to though for the good of the show, right?
Do it. Yeah.
I absolutely would not want to be spending lockdown with David.
Oh
It'll
man,
be-
because my one was going to be you. I want to spend a lockdown with you. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
It's all the singing that would bother me.
Yeah, no, I'm not
I
offended
must
by
say,
that.
yeah.
I
So
fully understand that.
when I read this, I was thinking about when you talked about the times you've been trapped in the car with Dave.
Okay, that's offensive.
Honestly.
Not all three of you.
No, I'm not saying
Yeah,
that's
I
my
was gonna
answer.
say-
I'm just
that-
saying that's what I thought of.
For James, for being the one that I would want to spend time with, is that we've had that proven situation, James, on that train home from EGX last year, where
True, yeah.
we said we're okay just to not talk to each other for a long time. That is fine. I'm going to sleep. You put your headphones in. We've had it in the car as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
There have been moments where I've been screaming because I get like that. But there have been moments where you're just like, I'm just going to play my Switch for a bit. And I'm like, yep, totally fine. Don't mind that at all. I'll just look and drive and listen to a podcast or something. I think we're comfortable with each other's
Yeah, that's true.
social elements, if that's the right one. But yeah, that's who I wouldn't want to spend time with, like get isolated with. Right, okay, because this is a really hard question to answer because I would like to spend a lot of time with you. Like, I've got no issue. I think Matt would want me to stream a lot while I was over, and I don't know if I could cope with that. So that's my
That's
reasoning
fine. You
for
might as
saying
well.
that.
Yeah.
But I know
Get to
that
work.
me and Matt would not do that. We'd probably play Trackmania Turbo every day, and it'd be clean. But
That'd be great.
there's unfortunately, that's the only reason that comes to mind.
So I mean,
Well,
You
That's
want
'cause-
me to do more work on TCGS?
I mean, because it's an easy get out, I'll go with Dave as the least because of the
Easy get out.
singing thing. It's completely arbitrary. I think I'd most like to spend it with James because I'll bring all my magic cards, James, and we can have a little, we can have an whole session, can't we? You'd be a master.
You're going to
Be
change your answers,
captive.
James? You're going to change your answer about who you don't want to be isolated with? Matt?
I would like to spend it with Sean
Yeah,
because good time to get to know each other, and also he's good at cooking. So
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. We can talk streaming setups.
Exactly. Yeah. We talk bit rates, all sorts of shit.
Not for that.
Probably at least I'd go with James. Not that I don't want to spend time with James, but he wouldn't. I'll be like, James, how about we do this, or should we record this? Or it's like, I feel like I don't want to spend time with James more because he would get very annoyed with me. I'm like, James, have you seen this influencer? See what these guys are doing on YouTube.
I do think he's less likely to put up with your, should I say, personality?
Or
work
at the end of it, James could be like, hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
James comes out of his isolation chamber wearing a fucking snapback and
yeah, smash that. Yeah, he's sat on a Lisa mattress.
He comes out rolling out of the house on an electric skateboard.
Oh, that reminds me. So Isaac's now fully old enough to
That reminds me, Matt is a twat.
So Isaac's fully old enough to get about on his scooter now, and I've been thinking it'd be really funny if I got one as well.
No, don't do that.
That'd be good though. Be proper good.
No, because that's the first step.
I mean, they are fun to ride. So.
Life crisis.
Who cares? He's a married dad now. He can do what you want.
Exactly.
Fuck it.
What? He's a married dad now. He can do what he wants. That does not make sense.
Yeah, because
that is the opposite.
What's the worry?
No, yeah, it's like when you're in
James,
this situation, you
James,
take what freedoms you can
one?
get, and if it's spending 60 quid on a scooter.
You're just
see, my rule is you're a married dad now. You can't do anything you want to do.
It's true. I'm totally with you on that.
If you want to be silly, it's like, oh yeah, who cares?
Yeah,
You get away with it.
Stop giving a fuck about stuff like that, don't you?
Yeah.
If what you want to do more than anything in the world is be silly, then maybe you should.
No. But the question wasn't what do you want to do in the world. It was like, could I get saying doing something stupid? Yeah, does it matter?
Can someone email in next week with the question, what do you want to do in the world? Because that sounds like a banging question. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah. That's it for tweets.
My God, 3 hours, 5 minutes. Last question.
That was it for tweets.
That was the last question. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Let's do the socials.
On Wednesday, which is the day this podcast comes out, James is streaming Animal Crossing. Watch us on Twitch 9 o'clock tonight to see James do some Animal Crossing stuff. On Friday, James is back on Twitch to stream Blood and Truth on PSVR. You're enjoying it, aren't you, James? You said you've.
I am. Yeah. It's brilliant. It's a really good game. Yeah.
And I think he was getting less grief in the chat, which is kind of annoying, actually, to be perfectly honest with you. But yeah, that's Friday night from 9, and I carry on with Super Metroid Sunday night from 8:30. Others may sneak on for streams here and there in a week, so just search the Computer Game Show on Twitch, and you'll find us, and you can subscribe. You can do all that sort of stuff. And basically all the streams we do, if you don't watch them live, they're all on our YouTube channel, so search for TCGS on YouTube, including the 2-hour stream where we went through Sea of Thieves together and Overcooked 2 and Totally Reliable Delivery Service. That's a good one as well, was Sean's recent Half-Life Alyx streams and everything else. We're on Patreon, of course, we've mentioned that, patreon.com/TCGS if you want to support what we're doing over here. You get a monthly podcast you can't get anywhere else. On that, as well as some other perks, and it's computergameshow.com for everything else. And actually, something probably should have mentioned a while ago. We've obviously got a store on there. I probably wouldn't order anything from the store because I imagine there's either huge delays or things aren't going out. So not that people are ordering left, right, and centre, but just a word of warning.
Yep.
But yeah, the website's there for everything else you need.
Cool. And as I said last week, we all hope that you're doing as well as you can in these circumstances, and we hope you get through the week without too much shit, basically. Thanks for living it, as Master Chief says.
Dave and his pals.
We'll see you next week. From Dave and his pals, goodbye.
Night. Goodbye.
Bye.